will be scheduled and conducted by the Montana Medical Examiner's Office in Billings, Montana. It is our hope that a positive identification can be made at that time.
Barry lived in an apartment near the home of her father. She wasn't reported missing until December 31st, 10 days after she had last been seen. The remains were found close to Barry's apartment. Her mother is Assistant Grand Forks County State's Attorney Carmel Madison. Fargo Mayor Tim Mahoney says he will make an official announcement in a couple of weeks, but he is seeking a second full term. He did indicate last summer that he was in the race for re-election. City Commissioner Arlette Preston announced for mayor earlier this week. State Representative Shannon Royce-Jones is also running for mayor. North Dakota Congressman Kelly Armstrong will run for a third two-year term. The Republican was first elected to Congress in 2018. 2 years ago, he was challenged by Democrat Zach Rackenrud. State Representative Rick Becker of Bismarck, who founded a far-right faction of the legislature, has announced he won't seek another term. The plastic surgeon and former candidate for governor says he will retire from the legislature when his current term ends in December. Becker says his family, business, and other obligations had him thinking about leaving the legislature for about a year. Becker has not ruled out a potential run for statewide office. Becker formed a special caucus of legislators after he was elected in 2012. Hundreds of Minnesotans are taking advantage of the state's offer to cover the cost of training to become a certified nursing assistant. The state has used $3.5 million in federal money to pay for tuition, books, and certification exams in hopes of alleviating staff shortages in long-term care and veterans' homes during the coronavirus pandemic. More than 500 Minnesotans have enrolled in state training programs offered through the state college system and a private provider. Nursing assistants are the sixth highest in-demand job in Minnesota and earn a median wage of about $37,300 per year. Near 5 below for our high this afternoon. We should remain mostly sunny, clear, cold, windy overnight. Some blowing snow, eventually slowly rising temperatures. Southerly winds 15 to 35. And that wind chill advisory in effect until early tomorrow morning. 22, mostly cloudy tomorrow. Looks like some blowing snow and light snow. Again, 8 below. Paul Juergens, News Radio, KFGO.
You know, Audibles isn't now until 4 o'clock, 4:10, since we gained that extra hour together. That doesn't mean that the trash talking from you faithful listeners hasn't already started before the show did. I get it. You love to see me lose. Unless, of course, you select me and I win, then all of a sudden, all is well. But keep the trash talking coming in. That's fine. I'm a big boy. I can handle it. 35270 is the iConsultants of North Dakota Text Club. Ladies studio line open today as well at 237-5948. And, of course, you can call us toll-free at 1-800-880-5346. Got a number of things coming your way. We are in the Outlet Recreation studio today. In fact, we're going to be talking with Outlet Rec because today, tomorrow, they have got their rummage sale going on. And I know that I bought my camper from them, and we'll talk about why you, if you're in the market, are going to want to take advantage of the sale going on over the next 48 hours. Plus, because inventory, quite frankly, the staff is just great to work with over there. So that's coming up tomorrow in a little bit, though. We do have the meat dude Spencer Wirt joining us, of course, out of New Salem. I got a couple of things that I'm going to ask him. Beef short ribs being one. Do you use any of that bacon fat? And also some other things that we've been finding online when it comes to meat. Cuts, rubs, what you ask your butcher, all of that. He likes taking your questions above mine. So you can send those in now, and I will ask those of him in just a little bit. You just heard the KFGO news update, and we might dabble into this a little bit later on. Announcements, both of seeking a re-election and, quite frankly, those that are not seeking a re-election. And I think there's a lot to be said on who is seeking and who's not. It's I do find it somewhat comical. You have Mayor Tim Honey saying, I'm going to run again, and we'll have an announcement in a couple weeks. I think you just did the announcement by saying you're going to run again. But one thing that I've been noticing in North Dakota in particular, you've got people coming out running for Secretary of State. You've got a congressman running for re-election. You've got somebody running for the Attorney General who, quite frankly, just wants his name on any paper, and apparently those government benefits that go along with that. And Drew Wrigley, you've got people lining up on that side of the ticket, just eager to move on, get that statewide ticket, get that recognition, get the benefits. Have you heard anything aside from a handful of Democratic lawmakers running for re-election? I've not heard any announcements. I've not heard any interest from potential candidates. And I guess I'm not surprised, but boy, if you are entertaining the idea, time's are ticking away to get recognized and, quite frankly, to put maybe your name forward on that side of the ledger. So I'm just throwing that out there because it's quite telling that you have not heard anything when it comes to statewide office there. And if I've missed out and you're saying, geez, how could you have? You know how to get a hold of me, and I'll take those into the text clipboard by phone. And I do want to head to South Dakota later on because you've got the whole Ravnsburg situation. He's the attorney general that struck and killed an individual walking along a highway. We've talked at length about this and how the slap on the wrist is not justice for that family, for that victim, and quite frankly for the state of South Dakota. The impeachment probes rolling forward, and if you recall, it was North Dakota investigators that took over that, and they were questioned yesterday on the House side. And what they responded with to a pretty direct question from a Sioux Falls lawmaker, I think is not a surprise to anyone, but I think it really needs to be questioned as to then, if that's a very real possibility, how did the slap on the wrist from the justice system happen? That and more coming up in just a little bit. But I encourage you, 35270, start sending in your meat-related questions. Spencer Wirt, the meat dude, when we come back. I am Tyler Axidus. Afternoons Live on a Thursday afternoon is just getting started on 790 AM, 104.7 FM. Of course, you can be streaming us at kfgo.com. Don't go anywhere.
Well, we're doing a food giveaway event to the community. A lot of people are facing food insecurity at this time. As we can tell, we had to start about an hour early because we just had so many people lined up. So as people come up and they need whatever they need, volunteers are taking care of it. It's all contactless, so nobody has to get out. Right. And just making sure whatever the greatest need. We're just getting the greatest good. When we're going until the food is out, as people are coming in, if they need 2 boxes and 2 gallons of milk, that's what we're giving. We don't want to leave anybody out.
I was in the hospital, and I saw a flyer on the wall. And all the nurses were talking about taking people down there to get food and stuff. I got out last night, the hospital last night, and I said, man, I'm going to do this. When I came from Williston here, I lived on these streets for 3 years, caring. And that's what this is. That's the way I see it. Very helpful. I think it's going to be very helpful because I know people that are doing without.
I think it's truly remarkable how much need there is out there. Like I said, we were going to start at noon, but we had so many people lined up. We started at 11, and volunteers have been working their tail off since then. I'm thankful for that. I think this shows that there is some huge needs in the community, and we got some things we got to address.
Thanks for watching News and Views on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and like our page, and send us a text anytime at 35270.
I will get to Spencer Wirt, or as you like to call him, the meat dude, in just a moment. In fact, I got text messages with questions coming in to 35270. But a road warrior report called in on the break as well. There's an accident on 4th Avenue North between Broadway and 5th, according to one of our KFGO road warriors. So thanks for calling that in. Be mindful if you are in that area. Use a different route, of course. In the meantime, we're going to get to the meat dudes. Spencer Wirt, how are you doing, man?
Good as always. How are you, Tyler?
Are you sure? Because there was a long inhale before you said, "Hey, I'm good, man." You busy this week or what?
Just switching gears, getting ready to answer some questions.
Oh.
Just trying to get focused.
You got a lot of people you talk to while you're working, or am I like one of the few people you get to interact with throughout the day on Thursdays?
No, of course. I talk to my crew while we're cutting meat. Not much else to do while you're slaving away.
Okay, so it's not just you and a saw and a slab of meat, huh? Okay, just want to make sure.
Nope.
Okay, because I'm here for you, man. We can talk about anything. We don't just have to talk about meat.
Well, that's all I'm good for, so we might as well do that.
Okay, well, then hopefully you can answer the questions that have come in to the text club. Tyler, this question for the meat dude. What cut of meat is best for beef jerky? Do you have an easy, proven recipe as a follow-up question? So let's start off. What's the best cut of meat is best for beef jerky?
I have rounds or top rounds are my go-to. The reason being is that they're a whole muscle cut. There's not connective tissue running through that you got to worry about taking off. They're relatively lean, and I should say actually very lean compared to any other muscle in that you could choose from. So those two cuts, so top round, I have round, and then go-to recipe, I really don't. Honestly, what I've used is pre-packs for jerky, something that's called the Colorado seasoning that I get from our spice supply place, which is a company out of Minnesota called Nassau is who I use. But when it comes to jerky, you usually want a little more than salt, pepper, garlic. Sometimes you can find lots and lots of different methods, a marinating method using soy sauce or Worcestershire or something that's super high in salt that helps the curing process. When I make jerky, I also add actual cure in order just to extend that shelf life, get that color and texture and everything that I want. So yeah, I don't have a true go-to recipe for jerky. There's thousands that you could probably Google because that seems to be one of those things that a lot of people make at home because, well, they can use a dehydrator or something along those lines to make it if they don't have a smokehouse. So jerky is something kind of simple that you can make at home. To go back to the first initial question, yeah, top rounds, I have rounds, and then recipe, kind of use whatever you can find.
How thick you slicing those rounds?
What's that?
How thick are you slicing the rounds? I mean, as far as, okay, this is how thick you want that cut to be before you throw her in the seasoning and then the dehydrator. How thick do you usually go?
Every meat slicer is their ratio is different, so I don't have an exact, depending on the meat slicer I'm using. Lately, I've just been doing it by hand, and I mean, you go essentially as thin as you possibly can with a knife. So we're talking, 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch that you're slicing that. The thinner, the better for mouthfeel, drying it out, how long you got to cook it or dehydrate it. So in all reality, thinner the better.
Very good. That answered my question. I phrased it very poorly. I apologize.
Yeah, something also to note on that helps a lot just for you jerky processors at home is actually tempering the roast before you take a knife to it. So stick it in your freezer to get a nice hard crust so you're not working with something that's loose. It doesn't maybe quite make sense to freeze meat before you cut it with a knife, but you're not completely freezing it. You're just tempering it to solidify it a little better so you can get nice even strokes while you're cutting it.
Very good. Let's move on. Tyler, question for the meat dude. Can you remind me of the oven temp for a slow roast to get the fall apart chuck roast? It was a temp necessary for the collagen to break down.
The internal temperature for beef collagen to break down is 195. Pork is 180. Beef, 195 internal is going to be kind of the bare minimum. You can push it all the way to 210 to make it really fork tender, easy to pull apart. That's internal temperature of the roast.
Very good. Another one comes in for you, Tyler. We get beef from a local locker near Fargo. All is wrapped in nice, but it's paper. What's best way to keep the meat as long as possible in a freezer?
If it's just paper wrapped, I mean, if you're willing to take it and vac pack it, that's going to extend it quite a lot longer if you can get a good seal on it. I actually had just a customer this week that picked up his beef, and he said, and we use I'm talking specifically on ground beef, we use a clipper, which actually almost creates a full seal on that package of ground beef instead of just the hand clipping or hand tying, I should say. But he actually takes it home, throws that package into vac seals it himself, and he said he leaves it in his freezer for up to 5 years as is. So I would take, if you want to extend that freezer life past, 7 to 8 months with it being paper wrapped, vacuum packaging is going to be the best way to accomplish that. And we spent the whole show, I think, about on talking about vacuum packaging, and essentially the key is that you get a good seal, a full vacuum, and then how you treat it afterwards is really important. That you don't drop it, that you place it in the freezer nicely. You're not throwing anything on top of it that could puncture that bag and let the oxygen in, because then you're back to square one.
Pardon me, did you say 5 years this guy keeps this beef in his freezer?
That's what he said. He takes the packaged ground beef, throws a vac bag over it, seals it to 99% vacuum, and he says he leaves it in his freezer for up to 5 years, and it's still as good as the day that he took it home.
Do you believe that last part? Yeah, I said, do you believe the last part? Yeah, it's still as fresh as when you gave it to me.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard of wilder things happen. That's not something that I'm going to stand behind, right? Say, hey, if you do this, you're going to be able to leave it in your freezer for 5 years. But I mean, I've had stuff in my freezer for up to 3 that the vacuum held and everything was good, and the product was, I couldn't pick up on any off flavors or oxidation or any freezer burn or anything like that. So it's definitely possible.
Is that the best way to tell if the seal held freezer burn, or what's just like if you glance at it and say, oh, okay, yep, this did not hold? Is there an easy tell?
Freezer burn, yeah. You're going to see some of that white start appearing, ice crystals start appearing on the surface of the meat, which you should not see if the seal held the whole way through its storage. So
Spencer Wirt, the meat dude, joining us every Thursday at this time. You can call the Laney studio line 237-594 it, or as dang near all of you prefer to do, the Eye Consultants of North Dakota text club is 35270. Tyler, ask the meat dude, what is your favorite digital meat thermometer?
I have been using, and I just got introduced to this company when I came out here. I've been using their data loggers to monitor our coolers as well as in our smokehouse, but it's called a ThermaPen, and the company is Therma Pro, if I'm not mistaken. Now my mind's going blank on what the company name is, but the digital handheld thermometer that I use of theirs is called a ThermaPen. Pen, like a pen you write with, and it's really good. It's simple. It's quick. The ones that I purchased have a certification that came with them to prove that they're certified and they're reading correctly. Something that's obviously very important in a food safety meat processing world, is certifying your thermometers. So they're handy. I like them a lot.
Very good. Here's one thing that I've been seeing online trending a lot when I follow my meat forums is everyone's bragging about picanha, and I think I'm saying that right. So what's the deal? Why is this now all of a sudden? What makes a slab of meat picanha?
So the picanha is a Brazilian term for what we call a sirloin cap, or you'll see it called a culotte in the grocery store as well, depending on where you shop. And the only reason I know this is because we had a lot of Brazilian graduate students in the animal science department while I was there. And they do have a specific way that they prepare it. I think picanha, if I'm not mistaken, is the way it's prepared. It's both the cut and the way it's prepared. And it's a great cut of meat. The sirloin cap, I used to cater with it all the time, and it in and of itself is a great cut of meat. And then the way they prepare it just adds a little pizzazz, and it's marketing. It's fun to say picanha, and it's cool.
Picanha. I was close. What's you talk about the way they prepare it. I mean, what are they doing that's different that makes it the official picanha? Just seeing how many times I say the word, as you can tell.
Yeah, the sirloin cap is very, very similar to a tri-tip. So if you know what a tri-tip looks like, it's pretty close in the same shape. It's flat and long. So it's really actually kind of difficult to cut a good 1-inch steak out of it because it's so flat to get a good against the grain steak. So with the true picanha will have the fat cap on it for number one, and I got yelled at a lot by my Brazilian coworkers whenever I took the fat cap off of it. And then they'll cut it in like a 2-inch thick steak. And I've seen it like almost skewered, like you'll curl it around and skewer it so you make this nice little, almost like a sirloin ball steak, if you've ever heard of a baseball steak. And they, with that nice fat cap on it, and they'll cook it like that. They grill it just like a steak, but it's the fat cap and cutting it super thick and smoking / grilling it like that I think is the true picanha.
Very good. Now I know. I always have to battle. Spence, I always appreciate it, man. We'll chat again next week, all right?
That sounds great.
All right, you take care there, buddy. Spencer Wirt, he's the meat dude every Thursday at this time. We answer all your meat-related questions. Get you caught up with KFGO News, Rusty Halverson, some egg-related news as well. Let's talk about what you can wash some of those steaks down with Proof Artisan Distiller. It's easy for me to say. That's next right here on KFGO.
So today on MSUM campus we're doing an ice jam, which is we're combining a bunch of percussion instruments with ice instruments, which are also going to be used in a percussive form. We're going to hit them with mallets, hammers, all those types of things. Today is all improv, so we're all just kind of working with ideas that we just kind of think of as we go, and we kind of play off each other, and it's fun to collaborate but also have a sense of independence.
Thanks for watching News and Views on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and like our page, and send us a text anytime at 35270.
Well, we're doing a food giveaway event to the community. A lot of people are facing food insecurity at this time. As we can tell, we had to start about an hour early because we just had so many people lined up. So as people come up and they need whatever they need, volunteers are taking care of it. It's all contactless, so nobody has to get out, and just making sure whatever the greatest need. We're just getting the greatest good. We're going until the food is out. As people are coming in, if they need 2 boxes and 2 gallons of milk, that's what we're giving. We don't want to leave anybody out.
I was in the hospital, and I saw a flyer on the wall. And all the nurses were talking about taking people down there to get food and stuff. I got out last night, the hospital last night, and I said, man, I'm going to do this. When I came from Williston here,
News and weather this hour brought to you by Outlet Recreation. Outlet Recreation's annual Recreation Rummage Sale is going on now through Sunday in Detroit Lakes.
Fargo-Moorhead, 8 below, mostly sunny. I'm Paul Juergens. Wind chill advisory until 3 tomorrow morning. Human remains have been discovered in the apartment of a missing woman in Sidney, Montana, across the border from Williston. It is believed that the remains are those of 26-year-old Caitlin Berry, the daughter of Assistant Grand Forks County State's Attorney Carmel Madison. Mark Kraft is the Sidney Police Chief.
One of our volunteer search teams searching within one of our predefined search areas discovered what appeared to be human remains.
Kraft says positive identification will be made by the medical examiner in Billings. Berry was last seen at her apartment before Christmas. Her father, who lives nearby, reported her missing on December 31st. The remains were discovered today, shortly after an intensified search for Berry had begun. 8 below, this is KFGO News. 8 below, this is KFGO News. Fargo Mayor Tim Mahoney will run for another term.
I'm going to announce in a couple of weeks here, but yes, I am running, and I got things to do in the city. There's a lot of stuff going on, and I think you know that, I know that, and we're making progress.
Mahoney has been mayor since 2014 and indicated that he would seek another term after a judge ruled that he would be able to run again. City Commissioner Arlette Preston and State House member and attorney Shannon Royce-Jones are also in the race for mayor. The election is in June. Congressman Kelly Armstrong will run for a third two-year term. The Republican was first elected to Congress in 2018. State Representative Rick Beckler of Bismarck, who founded a far-right faction of the legislature, has announced he won't seek another term. The plastic surgeon and former candidate for governor says he will retire from the legislature when his current term ends in December. Beckler says his family, business, and other obligations had him thinking about leaving the legislature for about a year. North Dakota's taxable sales and purchases were up over 12% for the third quarter of last year compared with the same three-month period in 2020. For July, August, and September, taxable sales and purchases for the quarter were $5.32 billion. State Tax Commissioner Brian Krosh has called the increase significant.
It really is a reflection on the economic slowdown we experienced last year due to the pandemic and cycling around on that same period this year. While we haven't fully recovered in terms of the overall economy, things are certainly stabilizing and moving in the right direction. There's no question about that.
The state's four largest cities saw growth in taxable sales and purchases. Fargo was up nearly 13%, Bismarck over 5.5%, Minot 4.6%, Grand Forks just under 2.5%. A man accused of assaulting a Mandan, North Dakota tobacco shop employee with a stun gun and threatening to kill her is facing felony charges. Prosecutors say 27-year-old Joshua Badhawk punched and kicked the 40-year-old woman at Big Willie's tobacco store last Friday. They say Badhawk tried to get behind the counter and the woman used a stun gun on him. He took the gun and used it against her, burning her hand and knee before hitting her in the head. Wind chill advisory until early tomorrow morning. Fargo-Moorhead a sunny afternoon. About 5 below for the high. South winds at 6 to 16. Clear, windy overnight. Slowly rising temperatures. Areas of blowing snow. Tomorrow, windy, mostly cloudy, some blowing snow and light snow. High of 22. 8 below zero. Paul Juergens, News Radio, KFGO.
Rusty Halverson in the KFGO studio. Hi, man.
Hey, how's it going?
Going well. Sun shining. It is not pleasant out there.
Yeah, I haven't.
Deceiving.
Yeah, haven't been out since this morning, but I've seen outside.
You've been hard at work.
Yeah,
that's
doing
why.
stuff. Yeah.
You got a window you can peer through.
Yeah,
though.
I do lean over once in a while.
Yeah, let that sun shower over me as you work in the news center. What have you been working on today?
Well, Agriculture Secretary Tom Vilsack testifying before the House Agriculture Committee today, kind of on the state of the rural economy. You know, the Biden administration's been around for a year now, and he's recapping what they've done. And he had a lot of questions about what they plan to do in the future. Lots of topics covered. I think is just shy of a 4-hour hearing. And so... Yeah, and I caught some bits and pieces.
So you didn't watch the whole 4 hours.
There's other responsibilities we got to take care of, too. But Representative Johanna Hayes of Connecticut expressed some concerns about fewer workers at USDA, especially when implementing programs for producers. And there's going to be a new farm bill in 2023. So we didn't quite get the answer on that one, but it's accurate. The workforce especially. We did stories and talked on the air last summer, Tyler, about especially when it comes to wildfires, fighting wildfires, trying to attract people into that career, and kind of tough. Yeah.
So he got gaveled down while trying to answer the question that was presented from another lawmaker.
Yep. Yep.
That's
and
a poor look. It looks like somebody's
maybe-
trying to cover somebody's
Well,
behind.
maybe they came back to the topic somewhere in that 4 hours, but I haven't had the time to watch all 4 hours. So.
Yeah, so here's what we're going. You're done.
You're done.
Time's up.
Rusty, time's
Move
up.
on.
You're done.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say about it. I'm frustrated because it's important because one of the concerns I've had, and I'm trying to temper my frustration here,
Sure.
is these very important roles have gone unfilled. I know Minnesota, congratulations. You got a state director nominated. I haven't heard anything in North Dakota. You think about some of the office staff. Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, we got these programs. Great, but if you don't have somebody there to administer it, it's a little bit more confusing, frustrating to actually say get it the benefit of the programs.
Yeah, and it's a challenging job. The folks that work in the Farm Service Agency do a phenomenal job with the resources that they have and the equipment that they've had over the years. My uncle Lynn Halverson worked for the Farm Service Agency for many, many years. And from the stories I gathered, they didn't have a lot of time to be sitting around playing pinochle and drinking coffee.
No.
Let's put it that way.
No, I know some of the other people involved in the industry that have done that. I'm not gonna throw them. They're friends of mine. I'm not going to out them on air, but sometimes they've guest hosted a time or two here.
Oh.
You can narrow that down on your own, all right?
Yeah.
Don't pull you in that fight.
Just did.
You got anything else you want to come back next hour? Because I'll save that seat for you.
Yeah. We can talk about livestock competition. South Dakota Representative Dusty Johnson had some questions during his 5 minutes regarding the livestock competition issue and meat labeling. So we'll touch on that topic next hour, if that's all right.
5 minutes, but not a moment more is what we just learned from that first clip. Time's up.
Yeah.
All right, Rusty, appreciate it, man.
You bet.
We'll see you next hour.
Okay.
Rusty Alverson, him, Sarah Heinrich, multi-award winning journalist here on KFGO's agriculture team. In fact, you can go to KFGO.com, learn more of their work right there. Get you caught up with CBS National News. Joel Kath, Proof Artist and Distillers. That is next right here on Afternoons Live.
So today on MSUM campus, we're doing an ice jam, which is we're combining a bunch of percussion instruments with ice instruments, which are also going to be used in a percussive form. We're going to hit them with mallets, hammers, all those types of things. Today is all improv, so we're all just kind of working with ideas that we just kind of think of as we go, and we kind of play off each other, and it's fun to collaborate but also have a sense of independence.
Hey, this is Abby Miller with the
Derek
Mighty
Hansen, Couch
790.
Potato Radio. Did you see that?
It Takes Two.
Doug Miller with the morning crew this morning.
Jerkins News Radio.
Katie Eiler with It Takes Two.
This is Jack Michaels, Voices Forces.
Too tall.
Joel Heitkamp here on the Mighty
Sarah Heinrich.
Tyler Axis, your host.
The Mighty 790 and 104.7 FM KFGO. The names you know, the voices you trust.
Thanks for watching News and Views on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and like our page. And send us a text anytime at 35270.
Well, we're doing a food giveaway event to the community. A lot of people are facing food insecurity at this time. As we can tell, we had to start about an hour early because we just had so many people lined up. So as people come up and they need whatever they need, volunteers are taking care of it. It's all contactless, so nobody has to get out. Right. And just making sure whatever the greatest need. We're just giving the greatest good. When we're going until the food is out. As people are coming in, if they need 2 boxes and 2 gallons of milk, that's what we're giving. We don't want to leave anybody out.
I was in the hospital, and I saw a flyer on the wall. You know, and all the nurses were talking about taking people down there to get food and stuff. I got out last night. Got out of the hospital last night, and I said, man, I'm going to do this.
Whiskey. That's what we're talking about today. Joel Kath, Proof Artisan Distillers in studio. How you doing, buddy?
Good to see you, sir. Fantastic.
Well, yeah, it's cold out there.
Just when you're outside.
Yeah, well, fair. I have no response to that.
We have free cold up here.
We do, and it likes to pay a visit way more often than I prefer. So if you're wanting to warm up, that's what I was building up to.
Yes,
it's the fact that you're just the man to talk to.
Winter is for whiskey, and whiskey is for winter too. Actually, because we have free cold, whiskey is a lot easier to make in the winter than it is in the summer. Because you have a lot of heat, we boil things, and we have to cool it back down in the process, and we have free outside air cold for that process.
I was saying, just open up the garage door back in the distillery, and here's the barrels.
The cold is free.
Smart man. So let's talk about whiskey. I've had the opportunity to indulge in the products, and there's not a whiskey that I don't like of yours.
Well, thank you. Our Crooked Furrow and Glen, and I think you even tried did you try the Bottled and Bond?
Which one?
Oh, the Bottled and Bond in the fancy bottle.
No, I don't know that I have. Okay, well, now
okay.
I know what's going on tomorrow when I come on down there.
We just released that here shortly ago.
Okay.
Just before Christmas.
So what sets that one apart? Why is it in the fancy bottle, and why is it Bottled and Bond?
Bottled and Bond is that it's at 100 proof. It's a separate category, if you will, of quality. It's under bonded premises. That's why they call it bonded and bottled and bond in the bonded premises. We bottle it at 100 proof, and it is a whiskey that spent 4 years in the Crooked Furrow barrel, and then we finished it in a used Minions gin barrel. You've had their Minions gin or barrel gin.
It's the only gin that I actually enjoy is yours.
And then we finished it in that Minions gin barrel. So it was finished in a different barrel, and it gave it a little bit. And it's bottled at 100 proof. So it's a higher proof.
At what point, okay, so you do the one barrel, then you go to the other, Crooked Furrow, then you've got the Minions. When do you say, okay, it's time to switch barrels here?
Well, that's by taste. It is. Okay, we think this is ready, and we're going to do this with this. So we did one barrel of that last year, and we're going to do another one for next season.
So it's not, okay, I'll roll out the calendar here. Get your Google Calendar out and just set the reminder. It's, we better go sample that one today. It's kind of chilly outside.
You do have to really look ahead and in long-term results, yes.
One of the things that you guys have been known for is not only the product, but the way of which you do it right here in Fargo downtown, the beautiful room that you have. We're back to having events on all the tasting things. I learned so much by doing the gin tasting and the gin class, more than I ever expected to learn because of the information you guys provide. Whiskey, you got something coming up tomorrow?
We are restarting that, yes,
Very
tomorrow
good.
night, and we are sold out for tomorrow night's tasting. But we do have a couple tickets. We'll talk about that in a second.
We will.
And so we're going to reopen whiskey tastings on some Thursdays and Friday nights coming up here throughout the winter. First one is tomorrow night, and as I mentioned, I think we have sold that out. And what we're doing is we'll be having our now 6 whiskeys, and we do a taste of each of those. And it is a consumption. Yes, it is a fun time to consume, but we actually have some class with it and learn from it. Not like some of the wine snobs per se. Whiskey tastings are a lot different.
They are, yeah. It's not just, all right, you're not shoving it in their face saying, all right, give this a go, tell me what you think. That's one thing. Like, again, I go back to the gin class because I haven't done the whiskey tasting. I will be tomorrow. The knowledge comes with it.
Yes.
So where, all right, now let the aroma hit you. And then swirl it around. Put a drop of water in.
And again, taste it and consume it any way one likes. But so we'll actually go through and show, okay, what to look for when you do taste. And instead of slamming back a whole great big 3/4 of an ounce, the end of a cocktail straw is all you need to analyze the flavor and then look for those flavors. And it's really fun once you expose your palate to what to look for, to pick out those flavors.
Well, and I mean, even as basic as, all right, you see the bottle here, it's the colorization. Like, what put that to this color? You know, here's the type of crop we used to, you know, the rye versus this. It's like just the breadth of what you learn is.
And what I've always said about color is, you know, when it comes out of the still, it is crystal clear, sparkling like diamonds. All of the color in whiskey comes from the wood in the barrel.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at a whiskey, you can't tell how good it is by the color, because there are some whiskeys that are good that are light, and there are some whiskeys that are good that are dark. So the color really just tells you how dark it is. But you can get some hints of it if it was finished in a port barrel. It'd get a little different hue to it, but not necessarily to judge the whiskey by the color.
There you go. That was a free lesson for you. You didn't even have to go down tomorrow. Like two of you are going to be joining me down, I think, tomorrow, because we got You just heard Joel say it's sold out, but we got two seats available. I'll tell you how you can get those in a moment here. But you got other events coming up. I mean,
yes.
you got tomorrow, but Valentine's Day right around the corner as well.
Saturday evening, February 12th. 12th, okay.
Yes.
Got the calendar wrong. Saturday the 12th, we're doing a cocktail class. So it'll be a cocktail class and appetizers, a mini bite, and it's kind of there to educate, also to make cocktails, so that you can bring a bottle and take it home and make it for you on yourselves on I think Valentine's Day.
One thing, and if I'm throwing this out there and it's not for sale, I apologize, but we've talked about having an old-fashioned challenge. One time when we were down there, I saw a bottle that it was basically a pre-mix, the old-fashioned. Is that a product that's for sale, to where it's got your, the mix in to where...
We do have the old-fashioned syrup available at the tasting room.
There you go. That's what I'm looking for. Okay, at the tasting room.
Yes.
Okay,
It's not out for distribution yet, and we're looking at that coming in the next year.
Okay, well, I've seen it there and then when we go down there, I can probably just have it right there. Then.
But when you say an old-fashioned challenge, we should have an old-fashioned challenge.
I think we should, and I think you're just the place to host.
Yes.
Eric Johnson used to sling drinks. He probably got a little bit of rust now. He's been busy putting up with me. We got Dan Michaels, who also used to sling drinks, and he's like 63, so who knows the last time he poured one. If he's listening and wants to refute his age, that's by all means.
Watch the 63 comment. Some of us are a lot closer to that.
My apologies to my guest and friend Joel Cath in studio here. But you're still slinging drinks, so you don't have the rust that's built up as probably Dan Michaels. We're going to have to get this scheduled out one of these days.
Yep.
Eric's eager back there, you can tell.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I've actually used some of the proof old-fashioned syrup in some homemade old fashions, and it is delicious.
Yeah,
Thank you.
It is. Good. It's really well balanced is what I like about it, because I think you can get a little bit fancy with old fashions and hide the whiskey, and I'm a whiskey fan who wants to have the whiskey forward in my old fashions.
And simple is better.
Exactly.
Yes.
And one of the things that, regardless if it's the syrup or if it's the liquor itself, none of your products coats the back of your throat or in your mouth. That syrupy feel that you get from others that you might buy from some big national thing. You don't get that with Proof's products.
Well, and even in our liqueurs where there are flavors, other flavors, they're natural flavors. We do not use any chemicals. So in our liqueur line, our coffee, Two Docs coffee and Two Docs cream, we macerate vanilla beans and almonds, dried cherries. We macerate that in our Two Docs vodka and then use that liquid as the flavorings. And it's not chemicals, and that's the difference. Chemical flavorings in alcohol, whether it's a canned cocktail or a flavored vodka, it coats your tongue and you feel that.
Yeah. And then it just lingers.
It does.
And this one, you just go back because you want to replenish.
Yes.
There you go. Joel, you said you have 2 chairs available for this whiskey tasting tomorrow. You want to do this by having somebody that's over 21. That's very important.
Yes.
Over 21. Do you want to do this by phone? You want to have somebody call in and say, look.
Yeah, if you want to do a call in.
There we go.
Fantastic.
We're going to do that as we get you that weather
that?
update. 237-5948. Let's say if you were caller number 5 at 237-5948, you and somebody else who's over 21 can join us down at Proof tomorrow for the whiskey tasting. How's that sound? Joel, anything else before I let you go today?
Yes. There is something, and I should have brought my list. Oh, the glitch. The glitch. I just got posters. We'll be sending those out as well on the regional and national stage. Minions Gin and Liquid Ice makes a spectacular shot cocktail. And so we've partnered up with them, and they've just released posters that they're helping us co-promote. So
Yes.
that's a very cool thing.
That's awesome. We'll learn more about that here in the weeks ahead. How's that
Yes.
sound? Joel, I'm going to see you tomorrow.
Very fun.
Very good. You stick around. We'll get to who else is going to be joining us on the phone right now. I see that Eric's telling somebody. You stick around. We'll figure that out, and we'll chat again soon. Proof Artist and Distillery, Joel Kath. He's the guy down there. I got to get you this weather update from Too Tall Tom. Wrap up hour number 1 of Afternoons Live next.
Well, we're doing a food giveaway event to the community. A lot of people are facing food insecurity at this time. As we can tell, we had to start about an hour early because we just had so many people lined up. So as people come up and they need whatever they need, volunteers are taking care of it. It's all contactless, so nobody has to get out. And just making sure whatever the greatest need. We're just giving the greatest good. When we're going until the food is out. As people are coming in, if they need 2 boxes and 2 gallons of milk, that's what we're giving. We don't want to leave anybody out.
I was in the hospital, and I saw a flyer on the wall. And all the nurses were talking about taking people down there to get food and stuff. I got out last night. Got out of the hospital last night, and I said, man, I'm going to do this. When I came from Williston here, I lived on these streets for 3 years, caring. And that's what this is. That's the way I see it. Very helpful. I think it's going to be very helpful because I know people that are doing without.
I think it's truly remarkable how much need there is out there. Like I said, we were going to start at noon, but we had so many people lined up. We started at 11, and volunteers have been working their tail off since then. I'm thankful for that. I think this shows that there is some huge needs in the community, and we got some things we got to address.
Roberson here with another News Radio.
Hey, this is Abby Miller with the
Dear
Mighty
Kansas
790.
Couch Potato Radio. Did you see that? It Takes Two. Doug here with the morning crew this morning. News Radio.
Amy Eiler with It Takes Two.
This is Jack Michaels, Voices Forces. Too Tall Tom. Joel Heitkamp here on the Mighty
Sarah
7.
Heinrich.
Tyler Axis, your host.
The Mighty 790 and 104.7 FM KFGO. The names you know, the voices you trust.
Thanks for watching News and Views on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and like our page. And send us a text anytime at 35270.
So today on the MSUM campus, we're doing an ice jam, which is we're combining a bunch of percussion instruments with ice instruments, which are also going to be used in a percussive form. We're going to hit them with mallets, hammers, all those types of things.
About 4 minutes until we get you caught up with CBS National News headlines. We'll check in with Paul Jurgens. We'll talk about South Dakota's Attorney General. The latest on the impeachment probe going on down there. They should impeach him. They should remove him from office. That's my take. I'll give you more reasoning after this. I want to congratulate Janelle. You're going to Proof Artists and Distillers tomorrow for the whiskey tasting. They're going to have a whole thing for you down there. So I hope you and a friend, both of which need to be over 21, you're going to go down there and have a good time. Somebody asked, Tyler, what's the best mix with gin? And Joel Kath, of course, with Proof said, with their gin. Now, granted, if you have not had their gin, I would encourage you to try because it's so unique, so good compared to other gins out there. Cranberry, cranberry juice is one. Ginger ale is another good one. And, of course, your tonics as well with the Proof Minions gin. And, of course, like I said, if you have not tried the Minions gin, try it on its own first, just so you can get the uniqueness of that compared to some of the other ones that you see that are distilled nationally here. Best in the biz locally right here, Proof Artists and Distillers. When we come back, let's talk about Jason Ravnsborg. Impeachment probe happening in the House. You know what? You've heard some of the details, but the more direct questioning happening from House lawmakers leads you to, without doubt, get this guy removed from office. Shouldn't have even been there. It's just the whole ordeal. I'll give you the latest on that. Also, we'll check in with Tanner Cherney, Devil's Eye Tourism, and Audibles. That and more coming up right here on KFG. I'm Tyler Axis, your host. Eric Johnson's your producer. Going to be with you until that 5 o'clock punch-out. We'll get into that and a couple of other items. Anything else you want to talk about as well, the Lightning Studio line open all day at 237-5948. And that Consultants of North Dakota text club is 35270. You are listening to KFGO. Stick around.
Here with another News Radio.
Hey, this is Abby Miller with the
Beer
Mighty
Cans and Couch
790.
Potato Radio. Did you see that? From It Takes Two. Doug here with the morning crew this morning. News Radio.
Katie Eiler with It Takes Two.
This is Jack Michaels, Voices Forces.
Too tall,
Joel Heitkamp here on the Mighty
Sarah Heinrich.
Tyler Axis, your host.
The Mighty 790 and 104.7 FM KFGO. The names you know, the voices you trust.
So today on MSUM campus, we're doing an ice jam, which is we're combining a bunch of percussion instruments with ice instruments, which are also going to be used in a percussive form. We're going to hit them with mallets, hammers, all those types of things. Today is all improv, so we're all just kind of working with ideas that we just kind of think of as we go, and we kind of play off each other, and it's fun to collaborate but also have a sense of independence.
Thanks for watching News and Views on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and like our page, and send us a text anytime at 35270.
Well, we're doing a food giveaway event to the community. A lot of people are facing food insecurity at this time. As we can tell, we had to start about an hour early because we just had so many people lined up. So as people come up and they need whatever they need, volunteers are taking care of it. It's all contactless, so nobody has to get out. Right. And just making sure whatever the greatest need. We're just giving the greatest good. When we're going until the food is out. As people are coming in, if they need 2 boxes and 2 gallons of milk, that's what we're giving. We don't want to leave anybody out.
I was in the hospital, and I saw a flyer on the wall. And all the nurses were talking about taking people down there to get food and stuff. I got out last night. Got out of the hospital last night, and I said, man, I'm going to do this. When I came from Williston here, I lived on these streets for 3 years, caring. And that's what this is. That's the way I see it. Very helpful. I think it's going to be very helpful because I know people that are doing without.
I think it's truly remarkable how much need there is out there. Like I said, we were going to start at noon, but we had so many people lined up. We started at 11, and volunteers have been working their tail off since then. I'm thankful for that. I think this shows that there is some huge needs in the community, and we got some things we got to address.
Thanks for watching News and Views on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and like our page. And send us a text anytime at 35270.
Well, we're doing a food giveaway event to the community. A lot of people are facing food insecurity at this time. As we can tell, we had to start about an hour early because we just had so many people lined up. So as people come up and they need whatever they need, volunteers are taking care of it. It's all contactless, so nobody has to get out. And just making sure whatever the greatest need. We're just getting the greatest good. When we're going until the food is out. As people are coming in, if they need 2 boxes and 2 gallons of milk, that's what we're giving. We don't want to leave anybody out.
I was in the hospital, and I saw a flyer on the wall. And all the nurses were talking about taking people down there to get food and stuff. I got out last night, the hospital last night, and I said, man, I'm going to do this. When I came from Williston here, I lived on these streets for 3 years, caring. And that's what this is. That's the way I see it. Very helpful. I think it's going to be very helpful because I know people that are doing without.
I think it's truly remarkable how much need there is out there. Like I said, we were going to start at noon, but we had so many people lined up. We started at 11, and volunteers have been working their tail off since then. I'm thankful for that. I think this shows that there is some huge needs in the community, and we got some things we got to address.
Roberson here with another News Radio.
Hey, this is Abby Miller with the
Dear
Mighty
Kansas
790.
Couch Potato Radio. Did you see that from It Takes Two? Doug here with the morning crew this morning. News Radio.
Katie Eiler with It Takes Two.
This is Jack Michaels, Voice of Sports. Joel Heitkamp here on the Mighty
Sarah Heinrich.
Tyler Axis, your host.
The Mighty 790 and 104.7 FM KFGO. The names you know, the voices you trust.
So today on MSUM campus, we're doing an ice jam, which is we're combining a bunch of percussion instruments with ice instruments, which are also going to be used in a percussive form. We're going to hit them with mallets, hammers, all those types of things.
KFGO time is 3:05. Let's tell you what happened on this date 40 years ago. Could you imagine the reaction? January 20th, 1982. Ozzy Osbourne bit the head off of a live bat on stage in Des Moines, Iowa, thinking it was made of rubber. Now, do you think in his state of mind of which Ozzy was in 1982 that he freaked out, that he panicked, or is it just...
I don't know if 1982 Ozzy Osbourne was physically capable of panic.
Because when you look down, you realize... And that's the texture. It's no longer that of what you thought is a rubber bat in your mouth.
Right. And bats have similar fur to rats, that rodent fur.
You think you got to get the shots, right? You got to go get the rabies shot right away after this, I'd imagine. Good grief. And that day, a legend was born, 1982, Ozzy Osbourne, biting heads off of live bats in Des Moines, Iowa. Let's get you caught up with some KFGO news. Paul Jurgens in the news center. Then we'll head to South Dakota. Give you the latest on that impeachment probe next.
KFGO News, mostly sunny, 7 below. Human remains have been discovered near the apartment of a missing woman in Sidney, Montana, across the border from Williston. It is believed that the remains are those of 26-year-old Caitlin Berry, the daughter of Assistant Grand Forks County State's Attorney Carmel Madison. Sidney Police Chief Mark Kraft says positive identification will be made by the medical examiner in Billings. Berry was last seen at her apartment before Christmas. Her father, who lives nearby, reported her missing on December 31st. The remains were discovered shortly after an intensified search for Berry had begun this morning. Dashcam video has been released from the arrest of Hennepin County Sheriff Dave Hutchinson on I-94 last month when he was arrested for drunken driving. Hutchinson was headed back to the Twin Cities from a sheriff's conference when he rolled his unmarked SUV at about 2:30 in the morning.
Well, what kind of car is out here. What is that right there?
Okay. Like I said, Dave, I don't know what kind of car it is. It's too smashed up right now, but I'm concerned because I don't see anybody else inside. And you're telling me you weren't driving.
No.
No.
Absolutely not.
Okay. So there is still somebody else out here that I should be looking for.
Right. Are you on, where are we right now?
We're near Alexandria.
Hutchinson was going 120 miles an hour when he lost control of the SUV. His blood alcohol level was .13. He pleaded guilty, was fined in order to undergo a chemical dependency assessment. He's resisted calls for his resignation and announced that he will run for another term. State Representative Rick Becker of Bismarck, who founded a far-right faction of the legislature, has announced he won't seek another term. The plastic surgeon and former candidate for governor says he will retire from the legislature when his current term ends in December. Becker says his family, business, and other obligations had him thinking about leaving the legislature for about a year. Becker has not ruled out a potential run for statewide office. Becker formed a special caucus of legislators after he was elected in 2012. The group supports limited government and spending and privacy and gun rights. KFGO Weather Center forecast, wind chill advisory until 3 tomorrow morning. Sunny, only about 5 below, though, for the high this afternoon. Mostly clear, wind picks up out of the south tonight, some blowing snow, rising temperatures. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, windy, blowing snow, and some snow is expected, light snow, 22. 7 below, Paul Jurgens News, Radio KFGO.
The one thing that, talking about this Aussie thing, that back before you had your license, you rode your bicycle everywhere, right? In a small town in particular. And we had a friend, a classmate of mine, lived just a little outside of town, but it was still like on a non-busy road, so you could ride your bike out there and back and not worry about much. Not a lot of traffic. Didn't matter what time of day it was. And one night, we're riding home probably after playing Nintendo 64 to way too late. At night, I'm riding home. As a youngster, sure, you get that dark to where, okay, the paddock's kind of starting to set. It's pretty dark over there in that field. So you start pedaling a little faster. So I was probably winded, had my mouth open. Firefly hit my tooth.
Yep.
Oh, God, that was terrible.
I had a similar experience with a grasshopper and a go-kart. Yeah, it was a particularly dry, heavy grasshopper-y year. And I had a little 5-horse go-kart that I would drive around the farm.
That thing probably didn't feel good on impact either. Huh?
No, that's a fair amount of...
Do you think you lost a tooth in that experience?
Yeah, it was not good. And then, trying to stop as quickly as you can without completely losing control.
Yeah. But either way, biting off the head of a bat. Never smoked weed with a wheelie again. That comes in at 35270. I just couldn't imagine. Des Moines, Iowa. I didn't realize that it happened in Iowa. I thought it was elsewhere in this country, but not in Iowa.
Yeah, I feel like there's an Aussie story from the late 70s and through the 80s in just about every town. I mean, there's the kicked out of Texas for a while because of the Alamo incident.
Mm-hmm. I recall that incident.
There's some pretty epic stories about him around pools. In parking lots of truck stops.
There's a lot of similarities in a lot of those stories.
Yeah.
Probably a state of mind being the bottom line of what was similar in all of them, but also the antics that ensued. We're not going to talk about that on this program anymore because we're inching closer to that barrier of being family-friendly and not. 237-5948, that's the ladies' studio line. Of course, the Ag Consultants of North Dakota now sponsors our text club that all of you choose to use at 35270. I want to thank all the text messages coming in. I do want to head to South Dakota. And you know that this situation has angered me since the tragic day of which you had the Attorney General of South Dakota distracted driving, struck a person, and killed him. And thinking about that family that has to see this over and over and hear about it because justice has not been served, in my opinion, when it comes to the Attorney General in South Dakota, Jason Ravnsborg. And this is where, to the credit of Kristi Noem, you know that I certainly have my differing opinions on Kristi Noem and her approach to basically just wanting to be a regular, guest on any Fox News channel program, or the list goes on. But this one, she is right on. When she immediately called for his resignation of the office of Attorney General, and there are some lawmakers, and some of which have been on this program, that also echoed those sentiments, but they did not follow through on impeachment at the time because there was the criminal justice side. There was the courts. There was the investigation. And if you recall, when this first happened, I was questioning how in South Dakota, when you've got the chief law enforcement officer, the one that's in charge of investigations, you can allow for your employees to be investigating you. Well, the decision, correctly so, was that North Dakota's BCI would take on this investigation. So fast forward, you have what was, the charges were, I think, 2 misdemeanor charges for Jason Ravnsborg. And those charges didn't go far enough. And then, quite frankly, the settlement of, I think it was like $1,500 that he had to pay, justice wasn't served. So getting to where we are now, there's lawmakers in South Dakota, and I do believe on both sides of this political aisle, that say the same thing. So they started this impeachment probe. And in the House of Representatives, where this thing starts, there was some back and forth yesterday, I do believe. And one of the individuals that we've had on this program before, Jamie Smith, representative from Sioux Falls, who couldn't make today work in our schedule, but he asked a pretty straightforward question that I think we've got to dive more into, is the fact that you've got the questions, and we've questioned it in this very program, of whether or not Jason Ravnsborg had an idea that was not a deer he hit. Because, one, there was glasses in his passenger console. 2, there was a flashlight that was in the ditch. I mean, there are enough items involved in this tragedy that he should have known better. That Joe Bover was the individual struck and not a deer. But the question that came from Jamie Smith, representative of Sioux Falls, asked the investigators from North Dakota, do you believe the Attorney General knew that he did not hit a deer and that he hit a person? And the investigators from North Dakota said that is a possibility. I mean, there is a chance that he knew that was the case. And if that tends to be where my mind goes, I think there's a lot of other people, because of what I just laid out there. And then you sprinkle in the fact that he went to a sheriff's office, he got the vehicle, and you go back the next morning. With that all now being laid out, being fluxed up by people that investigated, that question him, and basically to the point in their response, which you can gather all this from South Dakota's legislative process, that they kind of questioned that there wasn't anything that was over the top in his response, but sometimes it seemed like the story didn't always come out the exact same way. So I'm bringing all this up because they need to impeach him. They need to remove him from office. He should not have been in office this long after having this tragedy, and then to lose the faith of the law enforcement community, of which you are the chief authority of in the state of South Dakota. I mean, $1,500, not enough to have this title. It's long overdue. I do hope that these lawmakers that are just probing right now, saying, well, is it going to justify an impeachment and removal? I think that they have absolutely got to move forward with this. If any other average Joe or Jane out there had done what Jason Ravnsborg did, I have no doubt that the justice system would have been different. I think that $1,500 would not have gotten off. There would have been steeper charges. There would have been more done. And that's right. If you don't agree with me, by all means, you know how to get a hold of me. Or if you do think that, quite frankly, he needs to be impeached, he needs to be removed from office, I'd love to hear from you as well. 237-5948. 35270 is, of course, the text club. I'm going to take a quick pause here. We'll come back to this and some other of the news items. So you've got this situation with the Attorney General in South Dakota. You got some more coming out about the sheriff that was drunk driving on the Minnesota side, Hennepin County. We'll dive into that a little bit more, and the announcements for re-election and not seeking re-election, what that means on the North Dakota side of all of this border right now, because the whole makeup of the legislature going to be vastly different in North Dakota. We'll talk about that just a little bit. I'm Tyler Axis. Phone lines are lighting up. You call, you get through, and I'll visit with you right after this.
Thanks for watching News and Views on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and like our page, and send us a text anytime at 35270.
Well, we're doing a food giveaway event to the community. A lot of people are facing food insecurity at this time. As we can tell, we had to start about an hour early because we just had so many people lined up. So as people come up and they need whatever they need, volunteers are taking care of it. It's all contactless, so nobody has to get out, and just making sure whatever the greatest need. We're just getting the greatest good. We're going until the food is out. As people are coming in, if they need 2 boxes and 2 gallons of milk, that's what we're giving. We don't want to leave anybody out.
I was in the hospital, and I saw a flyer on the wall. And all the nurses were talking about taking people down there to get food and stuff. I got out last night, the hospital last night, and I said, man, I'm going to do this. When I came from Williston here, I lived on these streets for 3 years, caring. And that's what this is. That's the way I see it. Very helpful. I think it's going to be very helpful because I know people that are doing without.
I think it's truly remarkable how much need there is out there. Like I said, we were going to start at noon, but we had so many people lined up. We started at 11, and volunteers have been working their tail off since then. I'm thankful for that. I think this shows that there is some huge needs in the community, and we got some things we got to address.
Roberson here with another News Radio.
Hey, this is Abby Miller with the
Derek
Mighty
Hansen, Couch
790.
Potato Radio. Did you see that? It Takes Two. Doug here with the morning crew this morning. Jerkins News Radio.
Katie Eiler with It Takes Two.
This is Jack Michaels, Voices Forces.
Too tall, Tom.
Joel Heitkamp here on the Mighty
Sarah
7.
Heinrich.
Tyler Axis, your host.
The Mighty 790 and 104.7 FM KFGO. The names you know, the voices you trust.
So today on MSUM campus, we're doing an ice jam, which is we're combining a bunch of percussion instruments with ice instruments, which are also going to be used in a percussive form. We're going to hit them with mallets, hammers, all those types of things. Today is all improv, so we're all just kind of working with ideas that we just kind of think of as we go, and we kind of play off each other, and it's fun to collaborate but also have a sense of independence.
far as the old Jason Ravnsborg thing, whether or not you think he should be impeached, overwhelmingly, yes. And for me, I don't understand what he thinks he gets out of by staying on the job. I mean, he's lost the confidence of dang near everyone around him. I don't know how he thinks he saves face by doing this. And quite frankly, you have other aspects of his job that he's failed to do as well. He was tasked by the legislature to fund a program to go with the missing indigenous neighbors, and he came back and said, yeah, I couldn't do it. Well, if you can't even do that aspect of the job, let alone what you did on a drive home from a fundraiser, no, you're not suited to have the job, and he should be gone. But he's still there, and that's why it's up for the legislature to do their job in that whole separation as well. I want to just jump in quickly. Somebody was emailing me some stuff when it comes to it being a year into the administration and what some of the reactions have been from Republican lawmakers out in Washington. And, of course, Kevin Kramer's tweets were sent to me. And, of course, I mean, it is what it is. You can expect what you can read through this. But one stands out in particular as just misleading. Or it presented in a way, and I know he's been drumming on this beat for quite some time when it comes to the voting situation. We talked about that. I know that some of you disagree with me, but not necessarily to the extent that I think you want it. Because I've already told you, if we want to go down the whole voter ID thing, I'm fine with it. Just provide it. But you had yesterday in the U.S. Senate an attempt to have a voting rights bill, they're calling it. I think it was the John Lewis Voting Rights Act. And if I mislabeled that, I apologize. But it's right around that area. And didn't get the 60 votes. You had Joe Manchin, Democrat, saying, all right, let's not do that. Let me do some of this, and I'll get you 10 Republican senators. Well, good luck with that when it comes to A, B, or C. I mean, you've had a couple of wins when it comes to the bipartisan infrastructure bill. But to have that then not follow through and to not have it then obstruct it, nonsense if you're Joe Manchin or Kyrsten Sinema. But to have this whole series come out and trying to attack Joe Biden on this, which not surprising, that our voting system is working, but Joe Biden wasted his first year complaining about voting rights, a fake crisis far removed from reality. So here's the part of this that I would ask you. If our voting system is working so flawless, then why did you enable this big lie to go on and you stood on the steps of the Bismarck Capitol saying something is wrong here? There's too many irregularities. Then to come back and say voting system's working just fine. And so that's number one. Number two, if the voting system's working so dang swell, then why do you have all the states down at least on the southern fringes of the border trying to change things to make it more difficult at times for people to vote? So if it was working for us, then why are there so many people, especially in your constituency, saying, yeah, it was rigged, didn't work, Joe Biden didn't legitimately win the presidency? So then this does not add up. And again, if it's working as flawless as it is, then why did so many states then go in after the election, basically as a response to the lie of which you enabled right in North Dakota, go and change it to make it more difficult? You cannot have it both ways here. Either it is working and nothing needed to change, or something needed to change, but the changes are making it more difficult. That's why I think some guardrails to say, yep, okay, we entrust that's a right for people to vote. But did you hear Mitch McConnell yesterday? I mean, some of the commentary of what you've got elected officials presenting this whole thing don't give me a lot of confidence that it's going to be a flawless way of which in the next election you're going to have some spots in this country have as easy access to go out and cast their ballot. Now, does what was being offered in Washington the end-all, be-all? Probably not. There were some things that I think could be critiqued. You could scale it back a little bit. But to say that everything's working after so many changes happened in direct response to the continued lie doesn't sit well with me. Your thoughts, 35270. Tyler, you're being way too logical. Don't confuse Trumpers with facts. Another one comes in, that's about the Ravnsborg situation. Summarizing it again one more time, everyone in the text club that took the time said, yeah, Ravnsborg South Dakota's Attorney General needs to be gone. I agree with you. I hope the lawmakers down there do it as well. We'll try to get Jamie Smith back on the program. He is from Sioux Falls. He asked the question that I think was pretty revealing in the response from North Dakota investigators as to whether or not he may have known that it was an individual and not a deer he struck. All right, I got that off my chest. When we come back, let's switch gears. We'll head up to Devils Lake, North Dakota, talk about ice fishing with Tanner Cherney. That's next.
Robertson here with another News Radio.
Hey, this is Abby Miller with the
Dear
Mighty
Kansas
790.
Couch Potato Radio. Did you see that? It Takes Two. Doug here with the morning crew this morning. Jerkins News Radio.
Amy Eiler with It Takes Two.
This is Jack Michaels, Voice of Sports.
Too tall,
Joel Heitkamp here on the Mighty
Sarah Heinrich.
Tyler Axis, your host.
The Mighty 790 and 104.7 FM KFGO. The names you know, the voices you trust.
Well, we're doing a food giveaway event to the community. A lot of people are facing food insecurity at this time. As we can tell, we had to start about an hour early because we just had so many people lined up. So as people come up and they need whatever they need, volunteers are taking care of it. It's all contactless, so nobody has to get out, and just making sure whatever the greatest need. We're just getting the greatest good. We're going until the food is out. As people are coming in, if they need 2 boxes and 2 gallons of milk, that's what we're giving. We don't want to leave anybody out.
I was in the hospital, and I saw a flyer on the wall. And all the nurses were talking about taking people down there to get food and stuff. I got out last night, the hospital last night, and I said, man, I'm going to do this. When I came from Williston here, I lived on these streets for 3 years, caring. And that's what this is. That's the way I see it. Very helpful. I think it's going to be very helpful because I know people that are doing without.
I think it's truly remarkable how much need there is out there. Like I said, we were going to start at noon, but we had so many people lined up. We started at 11, and volunteers have been working their tail off since.
News and weather this hour brought to you by Outlet Recreation. Outlet Recreation's annual Recreation Rummage Sale is going on now through Sunday in Detroit Lakes.
Fargo-Moorhead, sunny and 6 below. I'm Paul Juergens. Wind chill advisory until the early morning hours. Fargo Mayor Tim Mahoney says he will make it official in a couple of weeks, but he has reiterated that he will seek a second full term. He indicated last summer that he was in the race. A district judge ruled recently that Mahoney could seek another term after questions are raised about whether his time on the city commission would make him ineligible to run again. City Commissioner Arlette Preston announced for mayor earlier this week. State Representative Shannon Royce-Jones is also running for mayor. The search for a missing 26-year-old woman who lived in Sidney, Montana, just across the border from Williston, has ended. 26-year-old Caitlin Berry had been missing since December. She was last seen at her apartment. Sidney Police Chief Mark Kraft says human remains were discovered today as an intensified search for Berry was getting underway.
A post-mortem examination will be scheduled and conducted by the Montana Medical Examiner's Office in Billings, Montana. It is our hope that a positive identification can be made at that time.
Berry lived in an apartment near the home of her father. She wasn't reported missing until December 31st, 10 days after she had last been seen. The remains were found close to Berry's apartment. Her mother is Assistant Grand Forks County State's Attorney Carmel Madison. 6 below, this is KFGO News. 6 below, this is KFGO News. A North Dakota Bureau of Criminal Investigation agent has given testimony at the South Dakota Capitol as the committee considers whether to pursue impeachment of Attorney General Jason Ravnsborg, who struck and killed a pedestrian with his car nearly 18 months ago. The committee heard from BCI Special Agent Joe Arends. Arends says he confronted Ravnsborg during a second interview about data pulled from Ravnsborg's cell phone that he should have seen the victim's body.
Basically, where he parked to go 400 steps, we estimated that he would have had to walk right past Joe Beaver's body. And so we questioned about that, and at one point he made the statement, and again, I quoted it in my reports, but I don't have the quote in front of me, something along the lines of, I turned around, and that's when I saw him. And then he said, no, I didn't see him.
The 55-year-old Beaver died when Ravnsborg's car drifted onto the shoulder of a highway, striking Beaver while he was walking. Ravnsborg pleaded no contest to misdemeanor traffic-related charges and was fined $1,500. Jury selection has begun in the federal case against 3 former Minneapolis police officers who were with Derek Chauvin when he pinned George Floyd to the street. They're charged with depriving Floyd of his constitutional rights while acting under government authority. Hundreds of Minnesotans are taking advantage of the state's offer to cover the cost of training to become a certified nursing assistant. The state has used $3.5 million in federal money to pay for tuition, books, and certification exams in hopes of alleviating staff shortages in long-term care in veterans' homes during the pandemic. More than 500 Minnesotans have enrolled in state training programs offered through the state college system and a private provider. Nursing assistants are the 6th highest in-demand job in Minnesota and earn a median wage of about $37,300 a year. Wind chill advisory until 3 tomorrow morning. KFGO Weather Center forecast. Sunshine about 5 below this afternoon. Clear areas of blowing snow late tonight. And a strong south wind, 15 to 35. Temperatures slowly rising. 22 then tomorrow's high. Mostly cloudy. Some areas of blowing snow. Light snow is expected too. Mostly cloudy then Saturday. Light snow in the afternoon. 6 above. 10 degrees. Mostly cloudy Sunday. A chance of light snow and more blowing snow. Again, 6 below, Fargo-Moorhead. Paul Juergens, News Radio, KFGO.
Rusty Halverson appears back in the studio. Welcome
yes,
back,
sir.
man.
Thank you. Thank you.
So we were talking about Vilsack, and it was gavelled down in a response we were waiting for, but there was 4 hours worth of testimony provided.
Yeah.
Did you get at least a chance to answer some questions?
Yeah. I talked about a lot of topics, one of them being competition in the livestock industry. In South Dakota, Representative Dusty Johnson had a question for the Secretary regarding competition investigations that we've talked about, Tyler, that are currently underway in the livestock industry. Representative Johnson sounded a little bit frustrated because it seems like we have investigations announced each year, but where are
results?
Yeah, where are we at?
Well, and that's, I mean, yeah, we open up a portal so we can file complaints. Well, it does no good if you're not going to do anything with, and these complaints aren't brand new. I mean, there's a reason why there's been ongoing investigations. There's just why there not been results.
Yep, that is correct. So in the meantime, Vilsack tried to point to the administration efforts by proposing new rules under the Packers and Stockyards Act, that portal, of course, that he mentioned, and also trying to jumpstart independent processing plants, trying to improve market transparency with USDA's market news service, things like that. The administration is trying to do in the interim, I guess.
All right.
Yeah.
The appearance of doing things. Just wanted to hear results is the only thing. I don't need to pull you into that more than I already am. All right. You come back in about 23 minutes. We got Audibles today.
A little Audibles today.
You're looking pretty chipper. I'm counting on you today.
I don't know. Okay.
You text him if you think Rusty Halverson's going to win. Derek Hansen said, hey, I'm a late scratch, so no Derek today. Yeah.
Okay.
Said, oh, boy. Just nervous for the competition, I think is what it was. The butterflies in his belly, that's what was going on. Yeah. We do have Matt English, Abby Miller, Rusty Halverson, and myself. That's coming up. But before that, we're heading up to Devil's Lake. Tanner Cherney, Devil's Lake Tourism, next.
Thanks for watching News and Views on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and like our page. And send us a text anytime at 35270.
So today on MSUM campus, we're doing an ice jam, which is we're combining a bunch of percussion instruments with ice instruments, which are also going to be used in a percussive form. We're going to hit them with mallets, hammers, all those types of things. Today is all improv, so we're all just kind of working with ideas that we just kind of think of as we go, and we kind of play off each other, and it's fun to collaborate, but also have a sense of independence.
Here with another Agri-News Radio.
Hey, this is Abby Miller with the
Dear
Mighty
Kansas
790.
Couch Potato Radio. Did you see that? It Takes Two. Doug here with the morning crew this morning. News Radio.
Amy Eiler with It Takes Two.
This is Jack Michaels, Voice of Sports. Joel Heitkamp here on the Mighty
Sarah Heinrich.
Tyler Axis, your host.
The Mighty 790 and 104.7 FM KFGO. The names you know, the voices you trust.
Well, we're doing a food giveaway event to the community. A lot of people are facing food insecurity at this time. As we can tell, we had to start about an hour early because we just had so many people lined up. So as people come up and they need whatever they need, volunteers are taking care of it. It's all contactless, so nobody has to get out. And just making sure whatever the greatest need. We're just getting the greatest good. We're going until the food is out. As people are coming in, if they need 2 boxes and 2 gallons of milk, that's what we're giving. We don't want to leave anybody out.
I was in the hospital, and I saw a flyer on the wall. And all the nurses were talking about taking people down there to get food and stuff. I got out last night. Got out of the hospital last night, and I said, man, I'm going to do this. When I came from Williston here, I lived on these streets for 3 years, caring. And that's what this is. That's the way I see it. Very helpful. I think it's going to be very helpful because I know people that are doing without.
I think it's truly remarkable how much need there is out there. Like I said, we were going to start at noon, but we had so many people lined up. We started at 11, and volunteers have been working their tail off since then. I'm thankful for that. I think this shows that there is some huge needs in the community, and we got some things we got to address.
That time of the week, we head up to part of our North Country, Devil's Lake, North Dakota, visit with Tanner Cherney to get a fishing report. Tanner, How we doing, buddy?
Doing well, Tyler. How about yourself?
Oh, not too shabby. We had quite the ground blizzard the other day. Did you guys have the same thing up in Ramsey County in the Devil's Lake area?
We did. That wind, North Dakota wind that we're always so used to having came through. And, yeah, there was a little bit of time out there on the lake that from people I knew that it got to be a whiteout pretty fast. But nevertheless, the fishing was good.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask, well, did you catch anything when they were out there? Because it was about 11 o'clock here. I think you had it a little bit sooner up there to where it felt like somebody just turned a switch over, and all of a sudden the wind was strong. And I know it was warm enough that morning, so we had roads collecting some of that snow that was blowing. Well, then the wind just kept blowing when it froze, and it polished up the roads real nice. Same thing happened to that lake or not?
It did, but we do have our fair share of snow on the lake itself, so there's not a lot of exposed ice in areas, so it wasn't like a skating rink like you think it could be.
Yeah.
But it does bring up the word of tracks and snowmobiles are going to be your method to get around the best on this lake. You can still get around with four-wheelers and side-by-sides with regular tires on there, but you just got to be a little bit, I think, more methodical about where you're going to be stopping and where you're going to be fishing.
Yeah, plan ahead is what I'm hearing. So ice fishing's well underway. It's been cold, bitterly cold. Do we have a depth? I mean, we've been making ice, I'd assume, over the last couple of days.
We have been making a lot of ice, so we have no issues there. Fishing's been good, and especially with these fronts that we've been getting with the wind coming in or, the barometric pressure dropping when you get these cold fronts moving in, especially if you can get on the ice right before those fronts, it seems to be the best time out there just because after a big cold front comes in or the wind, usually takes about a day or two for everything to kind of level off and those fish start to get super active again. But depths right now, walleyes are, it's kind of a varied depth for the walleye bite now that we're kind of getting settled in the winter. Anything structure related is where you're going to find a lot of these fish, 15 to 20 foot of water on old shorelines, rock piles outside the flooded timber. And then perch are going to be out, 30, 40 foot of water. As we said before, they're very basin roamers, so they're not relating to or correlating to structure. So it's a matter of when you're getting up here, a lot of our bait shops are great about giving you just, hey, the bite's been hot in East Bay, it's been good in Pelican Lake, and getting you started and ready to drill a few holes.
That's one thing I appreciate about the area up there is, you can stop at any bait shop or visit with any guide or, heck, you can stop at any establishment. And if they've been out ice fishing, no one seems to be protective of where they are. Everyone's very helpful, saying, you know what, if you want to go, go here or go there. Here's what we use. Very helpful up there.
Absolutely. The North Dakota Nights kind of rings true up here. Everyone's very gracious about doing as much intel as they can give. And, when it comes to lure choices, right now my favorite lure, especially for walleyes, is going to be a small buckshot. Chartreuse, pink, orange are great colors. And any type of small, like a Gens worm or tungsten jig with wax worms on there, especially after these fronts move through, are going to be the best presentations for catching perch.
As far as everything else going on, fisher biting, I know that ice fishing tournament is January 29th. We're talking a week from Saturday. People starting to get amped up to have that ice fishing tournament return?
I think everyone's getting super pumped up for that. There's been a few years where it's either we maybe not had enough ice or too much snow on the ice where it's going to push water up. And I think this year all the stars are aligning, and we've got great ice out there. We've got a good amount of snow, but not a crazy ton. So everyone's getting amped up, and I'm excited to see what everyone catches that couple hours out there on 6 Mile Bay.
Yeah, it's fast and furious if you have not been up to participate in this, ladies and gentlemen. Tanner, anything else this week that I missed as far as ice fishing goes, other events you want to get out before I let you go?
We have Shiverfest coming up the third weekend in February. It's always a great time. We've got the kids fishing tournament with that. If you're not into fishing and want to get your kids into the outdoors, it's an awesome opportunity to get them introduced, to get a little ice fishing starter kit. So look for that information on our website, which is devilslakend.com, and you can find all the information for Shiverfest there.
Very good. Tanner, my man, I'm going to let you go, and I tell you what, we'll chat again next Thursday, all right?
Sounds great, Tyler. Have yourself a great weekend.
Yeah, you do the same. Tanner Cherney, he just told you, you know what, you want to learn more about Shiverfest, that ice fishing tournament that from the fire department that's taking place next Saturday. All the things throughout the year. Devil's Run is all located conveniently at devilslakeND.com. You can go there, check out all the latest there. Get you a weather update for the latest there. Tom Schmancy's got your hookup. We'll wrap up hour number 2 before Audibles, brought to you by Don's Car Wash, our weekly game at 4:10. I'll tell you about that next.
So today on the MSUM campus, we're doing an ice jam, which is we're combining a bunch of percussion instruments with ice instruments, which are also going to be used in a percussive form. We're going to hit them with mallets, hammers, all those types of things. Today is all improv, so we're all just kind of working with ideas that we just kind of think of as we go, and we kind of play off each other, and it's fun to collaborate but also have a sense of independence.
Thanks for watching News and Views on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and like our page, and send us a text anytime at 35270.
Here with another News Radio.
Hey, this is Abby Miller with the
Derek Hansen, Couch Potato Radio. Did you see that? It Takes Two.
Doug here with the morning crew this morning.
News Radio.
Amy Eiler with It Takes Two.
This is Jack Michaels, Voice of Sports.
Too tall,
Joel Heitkamp here on the Mighty
Sarah Heinrich.
Tyler Axis, your host.
The Mighty 790 and 104.7 FM KFGO. The names you know, the voices you trust.
Well, we're doing a food giveaway event to the community. A lot of people are facing food insecurity at this time. As we can tell, we had to start about an hour early because we just had so many people lined up. So as people come up and they need whatever they need, volunteers are taking care of it. It's all contactless, so nobody has to get out, and just making sure whatever the greatest need. We're just giving the greatest good. When we're going until the food is out. As people are coming in, if they need 2 boxes and 2 gallons of milk, that's what we're giving. We don't want to leave anybody out.
I was in the hospital, and I saw a flyer on the wall. And all the nurses were talking about taking people down there to get food and stuff. I got out last night. Got out of the hospital last night, and I said, man, I'm going to do this. When I came from Williston here, I lived on these streets for 3 years, caring. And that's what this is. That's the way I see it. Very helpful. I think it's going to be very helpful because I know people that are doing without.
I think it's truly remarkable how much need there is out there. Like I said, we were going to start at noon, but we had so many people lined up. We started at 11, and volunteers have been working their tail off since then. I'm thankful for that. I think this shows that there is some huge needs in the community, and we got some things we got to address.
We'll get to Audibles in a little over 15 minutes. You can start texting in right now to 35270 who you think is going to win. This week's contestants, Matt English, 740 The Fan, Abby Miller, producer, News and Views, Rusty Halverson, farm and ranch reporter, myself, I'm Tyler X, the host of Afternoons Live, was what you're listening to right now. Before, I mean, you can send in who you think's going to win and be listening. I touched just briefly on it, but the details coming out on the Hennepin County Sheriff that was drunk driving out of Alexandria. More details coming out, and I'm getting some information out of Hennepin County. Dave Hutchinson, remember that name, was driving 120 miles an hour is what the car speed's at. More than 120 miles an hour he was doing while drunk, intoxicated. And some of the details that have now been released about he claimed that he wasn't driving his county-owned vehicle, the sheriff's vehicle. Yeah, he said, I wasn't driving, according to some of the video that's now being released out here. The ambulance that did get there found his keys in the middle of the highway, the interstate, so they do believe he, in fact, threw them out there, so he did not have the keys in his possession when his fellow law enforcement showed up, which, quite frankly, I don't think we're very far away because he was in the location because there was a Minnesota Sheriff's Association conference. And this happened December 8th. And before he got on the road, a call came out from the Arrowwood Resort, which is where he was staying because of the Minnesota Sheriff's Association conference. So at about like 1:20 a.m., called a taxi wondering if there's any bars open in Alexandria before getting into his county sheriff's vehicle and driving 120 miles an hour. Not wearing a seatbelt, crashed about 5 miles down the road, lied about not being the one driving, threw his keys allegedly into the highway, had his weapons taken from him from the other sheriffs that were there on scene. Now, all that in mind. And he's still going to run for re-election. He's not going to resign. He's saying, no, I plan on running. And what other profession, aside from those in elected office these days, could you do this and stand for keeping the job? Put yourself, I don't care if you're an IT, if you're a teacher listening, if you are a checkout clerk, if you're a custodian, it doesn't matter. Pick any profession of which you or someone you know is in right now and tell me how if you were busted going 120 miles an hour down the highway drunk, that you'd be allowed to, one, keep your job, but then two, also just be able to maybe run for re-election and maintain it. It's just incredible to me how in this situation he says, no, I'm not going to resign. In fact, I plan to run for re-election. Anyone else would have lost their job. Thankfully, no one was hurt. 237-5948. You can also text me at 35270. Tyler, false information to law enforcement is a crime. Comes into the text. So, Tyler, how many sheriffs at the meeting let him get on the road? Now, that one, I understand the question, but I don't know that it's necessarily the right question just because at 1:20 in the morning, he may have been alone. He might not have been with others to, say, look, give me the keys there, Dave. You should not be behind the wheel, which I think everyone would have agreed to. I'm going to get to the phone lines and visit with Vern. Vern, I got about 2 minutes for you. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. It won't take that long. I also heard that he had gummy bears, the THC gummy bears in there, too, that he was eating.
Ooh, I had missed that one, Vern. I'll be have to look into it. So,
yep.
Yeah, if he had that. Okay, that's a whole other layer to this mess. All right, Vern.
120 drunk with a firearm.
Yeah, it just and multiple firearms. It just those. Vern, thanks for calling in. I think we had a bit of a connection issue there, but all of it. I mean, just the fact of, and then he delayed the urine test. That would have impacted probably the more accurate reading of what his blood alcohol content was at the time. All of it just looks terrible. And I don't know, again, as I talk about the South Dakota Attorney General saying, I'm not going anywhere. How in the world is this guy, as a sheriff, law enforcement officer, entrusted with public safety, say that I'm going to run for re-election after all of this is coming out? It baffles me. It truly does. All right, we'll switch gears here. Final hour of After News Live. We'll lighten it up. I assure you, it's Thursday. Typically, we're just having a little bit more fun, but there are stupid things going on in the area, and you got to just dissect a little bit and digest them. More of those coming up in the meantime in the text club. But I want you to start texting who you think is going to win. Abby Miller, Rusty Halverson, Matt English, or myself. I'm Tyler Axis. Audibles brought to you by Don's Car Wash. That is after CBS News. We'll check back in with Paul Jurgens as well. You got it locked into 790 AM and 104.7 FM, KFGO.
Well, we're doing a food giveaway event to the community. A lot of people are facing food insecurity at this time. As we can tell, we had to start about an hour early because we just had so many people lined up. So as people come up and they need whatever they need, volunteers are taking care of it. It's all contactless, so nobody has to get out, and just making sure whatever the greatest need. We're just getting the greatest good. We're going until the food is out. As people are coming in, if they need 2 boxes and 2 gallons of milk, that's what we're giving. We don't want to leave anybody out.
I was in the hospital, and I saw a flyer on the wall. And all the nurses were talking about taking people down there to get food and stuff. I got out last night. Got out of the hospital last night, and I said, man, I'm going to do this. When I came from Williston here, I lived on these streets for 3 years, caring. And that's what this is. That's the way I see it. Very helpful. I think it's going to be very helpful because I know people that are doing without.
I think it's truly remarkable how much need there is out there. Like I said, we were going to start at noon, but we had so many people lined up. We started at 11, and volunteers have been working their tail off since then. I'm thankful for that. I think this shows that there is some huge needs in the community, and we got some things we got to address.
Thanks for watching News and Views on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and like our page, and send us a text anytime at 35270.
So today on MSUM campus, we're doing an ice jam, which is we're combining a bunch of percussion instruments with ice instruments, which are also going to be used in a percussive form. We're going to hit them with mallets, hammers, all those types of things. Today is all improv, so we're all just kind of working with ideas that we just kind of think of as we go, and we kind of play off each other, and it's fun to collaborate but also have a sense of independence.
Here with another News Radio. Hey, this is Abby Miller with the
Dear
Mighty
Kansas
790.
Couch Potato Radio. Did you see that? From It Takes Two. Doug here with the morning crew this morning. Paul Jurgens News Radio.
Eiler with It Takes Two.
This is Jack Michaels, Voices Force.
Too tall,
Joel Heitkamp here on the Mighty
Sarah
790.
Heinrich.
Tyler Axis, your host.
The Mighty 790 and 104.7 FM KFGO. The names you know, the voices you trust.
Thanks for watching News and Views on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and like our page, and send us a text anytime at 35270.
So today on MSUM campus, we're doing an ice jam, which is we're combining a bunch of percussion instruments with ice instruments, which are also going to be used in a percussive form. We're going to hit them with mallets, hammers, all those types of things. today is all improv, so we're all just kind of working with ideas that we just kind of think of as we go, and we kind of play off each other, and it's fun to collaborate, but also have a sense of independence.
Well, we're doing a food giveaway event to the community. A lot of people are facing food insecurity at this time. As we can tell, we had to start about an hour early because we just had so many people lined up. So as people come up and they need whatever they need, volunteers are taking care of it. It's all contactless, so nobody has to get out. Right. And just making sure whatever the greatest need. We're just giving the greatest good. When we're going until the food is out. As people are coming in, if they need 2 boxes and 2 gallons of milk, that's what we're giving. We don't want to leave anybody out.
I was in the hospital, and I saw a flyer on the wall. And all the nurses were talking about taking people down there to get food and stuff. I got out last night. Got out of the hospital last night, and I said, man, I'm going to do this. When I came from Williston here, I lived on these streets for 3 years, caring. And that's what this is. That's the way I see it. Very helpful. I think it's going to be very helpful because I know people that are doing without.
I think it's truly remarkable how much need there is out there. Like I said, we were going to start at noon, but we had so many people lined up. We started at 11, and volunteers have been working their tail off since then. I'm thankful for that. I think this shows that there is some huge needs in the community, and we got some things we got to address.
Headed for our weekly showdown of Audibles as candidates come rushing through the door right as we speak. You can text in who you think is going to win at 35270. You don't have to roll your eyes, even though they can't see it, Abby Miller.
My eyes are always rolling.
Yeah. Rusty Halverson comes in.
rolling.
Some rawhide for you. Rolling. Matt English going to be fashionably late. Derek Hansen said, I'm out this week. Apparently the competition got way too heated for him last. Said he needs a week off, so that's...
Yeah, last week was brutally competitive.
Oh, look, he's coming in now. There's Matt English. Oh, my.
You could be watching all this on YouTube right now. It's riveting. Just as it is riveting radio, it's fun to watch people march into the studio for a weekly game, and Matt English has to sit down and let everyone know you're here. Hi, Matt English, 740 The Fan.
Hello, everyone. Good to be here.
You text in who you think's going to win, and we got all sorts of names rolling in. You'll be listening to Audibles brought to you by Don's Car Watch. You can put a smile on your car, on your face. All you got to do is choose correctly and listen. That's right after this KFGO News.
KFGO News, Fargo-Moorhead. It is mostly sunny, 7 below. I'm Paul Jerkins. Human remains have been discovered near the apartment of a missing woman in Sidney, Montana, across the border from Williston. It is believed that the remains are those of 26-year-old Caitlin Berry, the daughter of Assistant Grand Forks County State's Attorney Carmel Madison. Sidney Police Chief Mark Kraft says positive identification will be made by the medical examiner in Billings. Berry was last seen at her apartment before Christmas. Her father, who lives nearby, reported her missing on December 31st. The remains were discovered today, shortly after an intensified search for Berry had begun. Fargo Mayor Tim Mahoney says he will make it official in a couple of weeks, but he has reiterated that he will seek a second full term. He indicated last summer that he was in the race. A district judge ruled recently that Mahoney could seek another term after questions are raised about whether his time on the city commission would make him ineligible to run again. City Commissioner Arlette Preston announced for mayor earlier this week. State Representative Shannon Rose-Jones is also running for mayor. North Dakota Congressman Kelly Armstrong will run for another 2-year term. The Republican was first elected in 2017 and went to Washington in January of 2018.
I am. I finally know where I finally know my way around these 4 buildings. I think I should stay one more term if people in North Dakota will have.
Armstrong was a guest on KFGO News and Views today. So far, no one has announced a challenge to Armstrong. He's an attorney who represented Dickinson when he was in the legislature. Bismarck Republican Representative Rick Becker says he will not seek re-election.
It came to my realization that the work is never done. Never done. There will never be a time where I can say, I accomplished what I wanted. I can go now. Still appreciating the people that came up to me. I am announcing now that I am retiring from the state legislature at the end of this term, which is in December of this year.
Becker made the announcement on his show, No Apologies with Becker, on the Beck Network. He was the founder of the Bastiat, an unofficial group of legislators known for ultra-conservative views. He has served in the House of Representatives for 10 years. Becker would have faced a challenge for his seat because of legislative district changes. KFGO Weather Center forecast, wind chill advisory until 3 tomorrow morning. Fargo-Moorhead, mostly clear tonight. Strong south wind, 15 to 30. Areas of blowing snow later on and rising temperatures on our way to about 22 for the high tomorrow. Mostly cloudy, windy, some blowing snow and some light snow. Then Saturday, mostly cloudy, light snow possible in the afternoon, 6 degrees. Mostly cloudy. Sunday, a chance of light snow and some blowing snow expected, 10 for the high. 7 below. Paul Juergens, News Radio, KFGO.
Don's Car Wash, famous for putting a smile on your car and on your face, allows us to play a weekly game of the week called Audibles.
Joel wants me to win so bad.
What's going on behind me here?
We've got an open mic. He can certainly come.
He could man up if you wanted to partake himself.
He gets really mad when I represent News and Views poorly.
He's adding pressure to you to represent the whole News and Views radio network.
Does he, though? I mean, in theory,
yeah.
I kind of block him out.
He is too chicken to come in here and play on his own behalf.
He's right there. He's walking by.
You wave him in here.
Yeah, come on.
We got we got room for one more if you still want to go to Aspen.
For the good of News and Views, please score. I just want to hear.
Okay, you can come sit down. You just want to listen. That means you better be quiet over there. The rules.
Watch him try to answer.
If you're watching this on YouTube, it's getting riveting. Abby Miller, she's the host, I keep wanting to call you the host.
I know.
Of News and Views.
Don't do that.
Yeah, the producer of News and Views. Rusty Alverson, representing the Farm and Ranch team.
Hello.
And text in Rusty if you think he's going to win. Matt English, representing 740 The Fan.
Yes, sir.
The Ringer, as you're being called. I'm putting my money on the Ringer, Matt English. A lot of people coming around to Matt English's ability to win this game.
I hope I have a better performance than last week. Got to knock you off.
I did win last week. I'm Tyler Axis, your host of Afternoons Live here. Joel Eichand just participating he just wants to be a part of the room.
I just so want News and Views to score
something.
I've
scored.
I want you to win. I truly.
Thanks.
There you keep his mic off over there, Eric. Eric Johnson put together today's game. Take it away there, man.
All right, guys. 4:10 on a Thursday, so it's time to play Audibles. I've got 5 categories over here with 4 pieces of audio in each category. We do scaled scoring. So if you can identify the correct answer on the first piece of audio, you get 4 points. Second piece, 3 points, and so on. Tyler won last week, so he'll get to select first. After that, whoever gets the correct answer will select the next category. If you answer incorrectly on any category, you're eliminated for the rest of that one. Back in on the next one. You'll ring in with your name. That's how I'll determine who gets to go first. Tyler, song, character, movie, actor, or TV?
Go with TV.
Starting off with TV, audio clip number 1.
All right, the usual drill. I'll need a W-2 or a recent pay stub, current employer, former address, the yada yada. And if it's all copacetic, I'll call.
TV, audio clip number 2.
Right, well, I'm a friend of his. My name's Todd. I'm sorry to bother you so late, but it's nice to meet you.
TV show, audio clip number 3.
You have poor judgment. I can't work with someone with poor judgment.
Abby.
I've been told.
The Office? Wasn't that Dwight? Didn't that sound like him?
I will replay.
Okay.
Stop trying to
TV
get
show.
clues over there.
Shoot.
Audio clip number 3.
You have poor judgment. I can't work with someone with poor judgment. I've been told it's excellent. That is not the only factor.
And finally, TV show, audio clip number 4.
This is business.
Tyler.
End of story.
Tyler.
Breaking Bad?
That is correct.
Yeah,
I don't feel bad.
I didn't recognize. I've watched Breaking Bad.
Probably one of the best shows that has been on TV.
Really?
No. Oh, yeah. You haven't watched?
No, I watched part of it.
It's good.
And it didn't captivate you enough to watch all of it?
No.
I thought Gus Fring would ring a bell with somebody, but
He was
did
the
not.
chicken
Yep.
place guy. Yeah.
All right. Tyler on the board, but only 1 point. 4 categories remaining: song, character, movie, and actor.
Gotta go with actor.
Actor. Audio clip number 1.
You can pull the wool over their eyes, but not mine. Let's set some ground rules here. I am a senior. You are a nothing.
Actor. Audio clip number 2.
Hi, this is Candy. Who's this? Oh, you sound hot, David. Are you feeling hot? Me too. And you know what I want?
Actor. Audio clip number 3.
Oh gosh, I forgot. You're 15.
Matt.
Jennifer Aniston.
That is correct.
Okay.
That was a good one.
Thank you for cutting that other clip off when you did.
It was
That
from
getting
Saturday
a
Night
little-
Live, so it was relatively clean, but yeah, it needed some trimming at the end there. Matt now with the 2-1 lead over Tyler, but still 3 categories remaining, plenty of points available. Matt, would you like song, character, or movie?
Character.
Character, fictional character, audio clip number 1.
Ain't this fun? 'Cause technically it's true from a certain point of view.
Character, audio clip number 2.
I should have seen that coming. What are you doing? Not that way. We
Tyler.
need to cut him off.
Tyler.
It's Obi-Wan Kenobi.
That is
From a
correct.
certain point of view. I thought you were going to get that. And I was like, who said that?
Oh.
The Star Wars geeks and Rusty Halverson and I perked
Yeah,
up just a
I
little
figured
bit.
that was a toss-up between the two of you, but Rusty a little slow on the trigger today.
I just couldn't put my finger on it.
All right, here's where we sit. Tyler now in the lead with 4 points. Matt has 2 points in second place. Abby and Rusty yet to score, but still 8 points available. Tyler, you want to do song or movie?
Let's get song out of there.
Song, audio clip number 1.
Oh, what you think about that?
Song, audio clip number 2. Song,
Matt's stress.
audio clip number 3.
What you think about that? Now you know how I feel. Say you can handle my love, baby. Are you for real? Are you for real? I won't be hasty. I'll give you a try.
And finally, song, audio clip number 4. Matt.
Tell me what you want, what you really, really want.
Abby.
Abby.
Wannabe.
That is
Abby! On the board.
Thank you, Matt.
I couldn't remember the actual title.
What you really, really want?
We need to have Matt just read song lyrics for that. Tell me what you want.
All right, everybody's still alive because Tyler only has a 4-point lead over Rusty. Matt in second with 2. Abby's got a point. Rusty, you need all 4.
Okay.
Abby, you need 3 for the tie, 4 for the win. Matt, you need 2 for the tie, 3 for the win. Axe, if you answer at any point, you are the winner. The final category is movie. Audio clip number 1.
Are you sure? I mean, you love this car.
Just a car. Just make sure when you get there to put some armor roll on the tire so the sand doesn't seep in.
Matt.
Absolutely.
Matt.
That's easy.
The Hangover.
That is correct.
Oh,
wow.
My word.
Jeffrey Tambor.
Jeffrey Tambor. I thought maybe I didn't know if anyone would remember he was in that movie. Matt did.
What are your other hangover clips?
The Hangover.
Yeah, it is
Clip number
weird.
2.
There's also a note. It says, couldn't find a meter, but here's $4. The bad news is we can't get you in front of a judge until Monday morning.
Probably number 3 was where I felt confident somebody would get it.
Lisa, I apologize. How much is the villa?
Well, we have one villa available, and it's $4,200 for the night.
Is it awesome?
It's pretty awesome.
We'll take it. Give her credit card.
I can't give her my credit card.
We'll split it. Are you crazy? No, this is on us.
And if we somehow got here.
Can I ask you another question?
Sure.
You probably get this a lot. This isn't the real Caesar's Palace, is it?
What do you mean?
Did Caesar live here?
No.
I didn't think so.
And that's where they should have just ended the series. There should not have been a Hangover 2 or a 3 or however many they ended up having. Matt English wins.
What a surprise.
It's time for that post-game press conference. So, you pulled one out today.
Yeah, well, it was looking bleak there heading into that final quarter, but Eric played a great clip with Jeffrey Tambor, and feels good to come from behind sometimes, pick up the win, and looking to use this momentum into next week.
All right, congratulations!
Thank you.
Congratulations, Matt English. 740 The Fan. A ton of people voted for you. One of them is going to be hearing from us. They won the Don's Car Wash. Put a smile on their car. You certainly put a smile on their face. Matt English won. Abby, you got on the board.
I know.
You had the pressure of your boss in here.
Yeah.
Rusty's
It's been a
so
while.
close with Obi-Wan.
So close.
Next week.
So close.
One of you selected Matt English. You're going to be getting a text back from me. You won the car wash. I'll tell you how you can claim that right after this. You got it locked into KFGO Fargo. Stick around.
So today on MSUM campus, we're doing an ice jam, which is we're combining a bunch of percussion instruments with ice instruments, which are also going to be used in a percussive form. We're going to hit them with mallets, hammers, all those types of things. Today is all improv, so we're all just kind of working with ideas that we just kind of think of as we go, and we kind of play off each other, and it's fun to collaborate but also have a sense of independence.
Thanks for watching News and Views on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and like our page, and send us a text anytime at 35270.
Well, we're doing a food giveaway event to the community. A lot of people are facing food insecurity at this time. As we can tell, we had to start about an hour early because we just had so many people lined up. So as people come up and they need whatever they need, volunteers are taking care of it. It's all contactless, so nobody has to get out. And just making sure whatever the greatest need. We're just getting the greatest good. We're going until the food is out. As people are coming in, if they need 2 boxes and 2 gallons of milk, that's what we're giving. We don't want to leave anybody out.
I was in the hospital, and I saw a flyer on the wall. And all the nurses were talking about taking people down there to get food and stuff. I got out last night, the hospital last night, and I said, man, I'm going to do this. When I came from Williston here, I lived on these streets for 3 years, caring. And that's what this is. That's the way I see it. Very helpful. I think it's going to be very helpful because I know people that are doing without.
I think it's truly remarkable how much need there is out there. Like I said, we were going to start at noon, but we had so many people lined up. We started at 11, and volunteers have been working their tail off since then. I'm thankful for that. I think this shows that there is some huge needs in the community, and we got some things we got to address.
is Abby Miller with the
Derek
Mighty
Hansen, Couch
790.
Potato Radio. Did you see that
From
game?
It Takes Two.
Doug Miller with the morning crew this morning.
Jerkins News Radio. Amy Eiler with It Takes Two.
This is Jack Michaels, Voice of Sports.
Too tall.
Joel Heitkamp here on the Mighty
Sarah
7.
Heinrich.
Tyler Axis, your host.
The Mighty 790 and 104.7 FM KFGO. The names you know, the voices you trust.
Tyler, I told you he was the ringer. Comes back in from an individual. Congratulations to Ben. Ben, you won the car wash. Put a smile on that car and hope on your face from playing Audibles with us. Somebody else suggested, Tyler, every winner should do a post-game press conference on Audibles. It's the delivery. It's the Mad English delivery that makes
You can tell he has been on the other side of a lot of those post-game press conferences.
I'm going to have to take notes from his line of questioning to appropriately elicit the response.
Yeah, we should find one of his and ask the exact same questions.
Yeah, Mad English 740 the fan here.
Yeah, right.
Kid's good.
He's got it.
Joel claims he knew that one.
Yeah, well, I mean, I couldn't see him. He's behind some computer
I think
screens.
he might have had it.
So.
See, but it's easy to not be a contestant and claim you have it.
Yep, should have played along.
Should have played. Would have got 4 points. All right. We had so many people are participating this week. I appreciate that. And thanks for everybody that was watching on YouTube or KFGO.com. You can watch us do radio at any given moment now. But in particular for Audibles, you can watch all the not so happy reactions from people. Just like my reaction to this news, not so happy either, because there is a concert of which I have been waiting for a very long time, of which Eric Johnson, my producer, has been waiting for a very long time, because when it came out, it's like, yes, finally get to see them in concert. Rage Against the Machine via Ticketmaster to my email earlier today. Your event has been postponed. This is like the third time they've now postponed this concert in Sioux Falls as the Denny Sanford Arena.
Yeah, because
Center.
It was originally supposed to be in May of 2020.
That was it kicked down the road quite rapidly. Then
it was July. It was right around the 4th of July, because I remember us talking about it interfering with 4th of July plans.
Yeah, it was, I got to go to Sioux Falls and partake in 4th of July, which was going to be on a Saturday. Then I think the concert was going to be on a Sunday, which means Monday was going to be a real tough going for us. But no, then they decided, okay, we're going to push it out to 2022, February 19th. And now on January 20th, about a month away from when we're going to watch Rage Against the Machine, they decide we're going to postpone to a date that is yet to be determined. At what point, I mean, is it, we're past the 3 strikes. I mean, so do you just expect that
I'm real
we're
nervous.
going to just cancel the tour?
Yeah, I'm really nervous that is going to be the end result.
Yeah, I'm kind of getting that sense here. That, well, we threw this out there. Now, I get it. I don't want to say, and there's people that are going to say, well, Tyler, because look, have you seen, I've been listening to the news? Yes, I have, but I've also gotten to the point to where people, I think, are comfortable making their own decisions, whether you agree with them or not. But yeah, this one's another one. I get the gut instinct that we're never going to see Rage Against the Machine in concert, in person, unless you want to go to like New York or California or Detroit, maybe Minneapolis.
Chicago.
Maybe. Yeah.
Chicago.
But I'm thinking that old Sioux Falls is going to be one that gets the axe. They're gonna shorten up this tour and say, well, we still got a tour and it wasn't the sprawling dates that we wanted. We didn't get everywhere we wanted to go. But if you're looking, I just don't have a good feeling about it.
Well, and the bummer for us is that when we were choosing Minneapolis or Sioux Falls, it was date related.
It was entirely
Sioux Falls was a Saturday originally. It was like, oh, this is perfect. Spend the weekend down there. And Minneapolis was during the week. So I bought tickets in South Dakota instead of Minneapolis.
Yeah, same. And then we just randomly bought tickets like close to each other. We didn't even plan that out. But anyway, for all you Rage Against the Machine fans out there that were expecting to maybe see them in Sioux Falls in a month, Not going to happen. You're going to let me know your thoughts at 35270. Do you get it? Do you support it? Do you say, look, I'm on the band's side on this? Or do you think, as other bands are doing, they're finding mitigating tools to still allow for the concert to go on? We'll have that conversation and whatever else you want to get off your chest. The final half hour of Afternoons Live next.
Thanks for watching News and Views on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and like our page. And send us a text anytime at 35270.
Well, we're doing a food giveaway event to the community. A lot of people are facing food insecurity at this time. As we can tell, we had to start about an hour early because we just had so many people lined up. So as people come up and they need whatever they need, volunteers are taking care of it. It's all contactless, so nobody has to get out. And just making sure whatever the greatest need. We're just giving the greatest good. We're going until the food is out. As people are coming in, if they need 2 boxes and 2 gallons of milk, that's what we're giving. We don't want to leave anybody out.
I was in the hospital, and I saw a flyer on the wall. And all the nurses were talking about taking people down there to get food and stuff. I got out last night. Got out of the hospital last night, and I said, man, I'm going to do this. When I came from Williston here, I lived on these streets for 3 years, caring. And that's what this is. That's the way I see it. Very helpful. I think it's going to be very helpful because I know people that are doing without.
I think it's truly remarkable how much need there is out there. Like I said, we were going to start at noon, but we had so many people lined up. We started at 11, and volunteers have been working their tail off since then. I'm thankful for that. I think this shows that there is some huge needs in the community, and we got some things we got to address.
News and weather this hour brought to you by Outlet Recreation. Outlet Recreation's annual Recreation Rummage Sale is going on now through Sunday in Detroit Lakes.
Fargo-Moorhead, 8 below. I'm Paul Jurgens. 4 people have been found dead near Emerson, Manitoba, not far from the North Dakota-Canadian border. A Florida man has been charged with human smuggling. Jane McClatchy, Manitoba Assistant Royal Canadian Mounted Police Assistant Commissioner for Manitoba, says officers were alerted after a group of people acrossed the U.S. border near Emerson. McClatchy says one of them was crossing with items intended for a baby. A search was immediately started for others who may have been with the group.
Extensive patrols were conducted in very challenging conditions. RCMP officers discovered the bodies of 3 individuals on the Canadian side of the border, approximately 10 kilometers east of Emerson. The victims have been identified as an adult male, an adult female, and an infant.
The body of a teenager was also discovered. RCMP believes that the 4 people died from exposure to the cold. Investigation is ongoing with Customs and Border Protection and the Department of Homeland Security. The Florida man, again arrested, facing charges of human smuggling. Human remains have been discovered near the apartment of a missing woman in Sidney, Montana, across the border from Williston. It's believed that the remains are those of 26-year-old Caitlin Berry, the daughter of Assistant Grand Forks County State's Attorney Carmel Madison. Mark Kraft is the Sidney Police Chief.
One of our volunteer search teams, searching within one of our predefined search areas, discovered what appeared to be human remains.
Kraft says positive identification will be made by the medical examiner in Billings. Berry was last seen at her apartment before Christmas. Her father, who lives nearby, reported her missing on December 31st. The remains were discovered today, shortly after an intensified search for Berry had begun. 8 below, this is KFGO News. 8 below and mostly sunny. This is KFGO News. Fargo Mayor Tim Mahoney is running for another term. He says he expects to make a formal announcement in a couple of weeks. He indicated last summer that he was in the race. Also running, City Commissioner Arlette Preston, who announced for mayor earlier this week. State Representative Shannon Roars-Jones is also running for mayor. State Representative Rick Becker of Bismarck, who founded a far-right faction of the legislature, has announced he won't seek another term. The plastic surgeon and former candidate for governor says he will retire from the legislature when his current term ends in December. Becker says his family, businesses, and other obligations had him thinking about leaving the legislature for about a year. Becker, that is, has not ruled out a potential run for a statewide office. Becker formed a special caucus of legislators after he was elected in 2012. The group supports limited government and spending and privacy and gun rights. Planned Parenthood is suing South Dakota to stop a new rule for medical abortions that would make the state one of the most difficult places in the country to get abortion pills. The rule approved by lawmakers earlier this month requires women to return to a doctor to receive the second of two drugs used to carry out a medication abortion. Usually women receive both drugs in one visit, taking the second medication at home. The regulation is expected to go into effect later this month. Governor Kristi Noem initiated the rules change in September through an executive order. A man accused of assaulting a Mandan, North Dakota tobacco store employee with a stun gun and threatening to kill her is facing felony charges. Prosecutors say Joshua Badhawk punched and kicked the 40-year-old woman at Big Willie's tobacco store last Friday. They say Badhawk tried to get behind a counter, and the woman used a stun gun on him. He took the gun and used it against her, burning her hand and knee before hitting her in the head. Badhawk also choked and threatened to kill that woman and damaged the store during the attack. Wind chill advisory until 3 tomorrow morning. Fargo-Moorhead, a mostly clear sky. Wind picking up, slowly rising temperatures. We may see some areas of blowing snow once again. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, windy, blowing snow. Some light snow is expected as well, with a high of 22. 6 degrees, mostly cloudy on Saturday. A chance of light snow Saturday afternoon. Mostly cloudy Sunday, chance of light snow, maybe some blowing snow, and 10. Mostly sunny, 8 below. Paul Juergens, News Radio, KFGO.
"24 minutes until that 5 o'clock punch out. Keep it locked into KFGO. I got some messages coming in about a variety of things. Whatever you want to talk about this final 24, I'm here for you. You can join the Eye Consultants of North Dakota Text Club at 35270. You want to call in? That's cool. Lady studio line's open yet, 237-5948. You and me, this microphone, your cell phone, the whole rest of the way here on Afternoons Live. Don't go anywhere.
So today on MSUM campus, we're doing an ice jam, which is we're combining a bunch of percussion instruments with ice instruments, which are also going to be used in a percussive form. We're going to hit them with mallets, hammers, all those types of things. Today is all improv, so we're all just kind of working with ideas that we just kind of think of as we go, and we kind of play off each other, and it's fun to collaborate but also have a sense of independence.
Hey, this is Abby Miller with the
Derek
Mighty
Hansen,
790.
Couch Potato Radio. Did you see that? It Takes Two. Doug here with the morning crew this morning. News Radio.
Katie Eiler with It Takes Two.
This is Jack Michaels, Voices Forces.
Joel
Heitkamp here on the Mighty
Sarah Heinrich.
Tyler Axis, your host.
The Mighty 790 and 104.7 FM KFGO. The names you know, the voices you trust.
Thanks for watching News and Views on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and like our page. And send us a text anytime at 35270.
Well, we're doing a food giveaway event to the community. A lot of people are facing food insecurity at this time. As we can tell, we had to start about an hour early because we just had so many people lined up. So as people come up and they need whatever they need, volunteers are taking care of it. It's all contactless, so nobody has to get out, and just making sure whatever the greatest need. We're just giving the greatest good. When we're going until the food is out. As people are coming in, if they need 2 boxes and 2 gallons of milk, that's what we're giving. We don't want to leave anybody out.
I was in the hospital, and I saw a flyer on the wall. And all the nurses were talking about taking people down there to get food and stuff. I got out last night, the hospital last night, and I said, man, I'm going to do this. When I came from Williston here, I lived on these streets for 3 years, caring. And that's what this is. That's the way I see it. Very helpful. I think it's going to be very helpful because I know people that are doing without.
I think it's truly remarkable how much need there is out there. Like I said, we were going to start at noon, but we had so many people lined up. We started at 11, and volunteers have been working their tail off since then. I'm thankful for that. I think this shows that there is some huge needs in the community, and we got some things we got to address.
After the show yesterday, I was going to pull up because there was a song that I heard on my Spotify that I grew up thinking it was a Kiss song, and it turns out it was not Kiss at all, but it sounded exactly, and I, for the life of me, cannot think of what it was, but I was going to go pull up and say, hey, it was on my Spotify like last night, but I forgot that I had to educate Abby Miller and Madison Quinn on who G-Unit was. So I had 50 Cent and G-Unit on my Spotify. But if somebody out there that's not a fair question.
Do you remember the song that Tyler didn't know was?
There is a song and a band that sounded an awful lot like Kiss, but I cannot remember who it was. It's going to bother me now. And now watch, it'll be like one of the Kiss band members, one of their offshoot bands. Because how many bands now have, we have our side projects, because then you can just kind of, go do your own creativity, and then we'll come back together and we'll tour, and then we'll create another album, but then you can go off and do your own thing. Just keep coming back. I don't know what Kiss is one of them, but it's going to bother me. It's terrible radio for you right now, but I just forgot about G-Unit and listening to Stunt 101 last night. I mean, I thought, what was the era? What was the decade of G-Unit or 50 Cent? I mean, it was 2002.
Yeah.
2000. I'll go with 2002 through 2010. 2010. That's where I'll end with the 50 Cent era of music.
Because there's some blending between G-Unit and Fitty on his own, and
see, again, together. And that's kind of what I'm getting at. You have your group, your unit, and then you go off, you go do your own thing, but you come back.
Right.
Or you bring others along with you. I was trying to think of when 50 Cent was really good.
Yeah, it'd be that early 2000s when he was at his most influential.
Influential? Oh, okay, that's not the wording I would have used. 237-5948. Ladies studio line. Here, this message comes in, and I do want to address it because it's at 35270. I Consultants of North Dakota. Tyler, there's a ton of bands that sound like crap, just like Kiss. Whoa, coming in hot. When Detroit Rock City comes on, you turn it up. Don't lie. Look, I don't ever need to hear Rock and Roll All Night Party every day. I don't need to hear that song probably ever again. But there's some other good bangers that Kiss put out back in their day. Don't kid yourself. This is just, you're probably thinking, you're the individual that says, you know what, I hate Nickelback. But I bet you when you're alone in your car, maybe aside from Photograph, turn up Nickelback or something. Same with Creed. Everybody wants to hate on all these similar bands, but you all secretly kind of admire the music. Okay, but this serious one, because I want to encourage the opposite of this. You know, people are wondering, we got the Cares for Kids Radiothon coming up, and I cannot wait. I've had the opportunity to see some of the benefit of what that program has done, and getting to meet some of the people that have benefited from it, the families. And I know that this got brought up when headlines are being made about an outed, former CEO and what he was able to walk away with. As disgusting as that was, the importance of helping out this, the Sanford Health, the Children's Hospital. Please don't let that muddy your view about the great work and the great program, and quite frankly, the important work that is being done through that hospital to help those families and those young children. I mean, I understand when you look at that headline there, but don't do that. I got a message in about that, and because you're going to be hearing some of the stories of the benefits next week here, and to hear about the great work being done there, I don't want that being muddied at all. So let me just say that, because it's coming into my text club right now at 35270. The elections that are coming up here, we're going to get the mayoral candidates on. I know that you've got lawmakers, you've got city commissioners, you got the current mayor, you're going to have probably another commissioner on. There's a reason why Dave Pepcorn came into the KFGO studio yesterday and said, you got to fire him when it comes to Dave Zabolski. And quite frankly, I remember Dave Pepcorn celebrating and cheering on the hiring of Dave Zabolski when that conversation was happening. But it's about headlines. It's about trying to get in the news to say this is a ding on how the situation is being handled, not only from the police chief, but from the current mayor. But the anonymous email, which he based on diving in the deep end of the pool, saying he's got to be fired and all this. Do you go as far as that based on an anonymous email? Is a question that I found myself asking just over the last 12 hours here, as far as you might want to use that to further investigate. That's why when I had City Commissioner Tony Garrigan, and you know that him and I, we can get along. That doesn't mean we're agreeing on approaches to any number of things. This one I find myself agreeing with. You can investigate instead of just diving in to get a headline, because they're going to probably have an announcement saying that he's running for mayor too. Don't think he'll win. I really don't think Dave Pepcorn has a chance of becoming mayor. I'll throw that out there, and if he's upset, so be it. But the approach, I think, of the level-headed way of, instead of just be gone, is setting that timetable of we know there's an issue. According to the exit interviews, now I think after the conversation that was had earlier this week in that brown paper bag lunch that they had, the informal conversation there, the agreement that something could be improved upon, and figuring out what that should look like, and then setting a deadline. And then, if things haven't improved or if metrics haven't been met, then you can go there. I think the approach being done by Pepcorn is just to get headlines, get people like us talking about it, and raise his name before he goes out and throws his name in the ring for mayor. But keep that in the back of your mind as we go forward in this whole announcing of who is running and who is not running. I suspect he'll be making an announcement in the weeks ahead. I think you have until, April 10th or something to get the filing deadline. So there'll be more names thrown in for the race for Fargo mayor. There's no question there. Going to get you this weather update from Too Tall Tom Schmansky. We will wrap up Afternoons Live. You got tonight's lineup of the Drive Time News Game On Hockey. That's with Travis Dunn. And, of course, then UND men's basketball versus Oral Roberts. Tip-off is at 6:30 right here on KFGO.
Well, we're doing a food giveaway event to the community. A lot of people are facing food insecurity at this time. As we can tell, we had to start about an hour early because we just had so many people lined up. So as people come up and they need whatever they need, volunteers are taking care of it.